All right, everybody, welcome back. We got a very exciting, I believe, last broadcast before the playoffs. If I'm not wrong, there, suspect. We have two matches today that I'm very excited about, and these matches have, I believe, some pretty strong precedent going into the playoffs. How are you looking at these two matches, suspect, and how do you think they can change things up going into the later weeks here and going into the playoffs?
Absolutely, some very big playoff implications for certain teams as we come into here. Of course, we've got teams that are just short of map count to get in, teams that are guaranteed map count as long as they come out with a victory tonight. So it'll be super awesome. But let's take a look at our standings here just to start our night off the right way.
Yeah, looking into those standings, we have a lot of teams who are vying for something here. Obviously, a lot of teams make it into the playoffs. The problem is the lower you are in the playoffs, the more you have to fight to make it through the sort of gauntlet that is being set up here in the playoffs. Meaning that the top three teams, top three, four teams, no, top three teams, yeah, have a significant advantages of not getting to play longer. And that advantage obviously decreases as you go down. Havoc and Mountaineers, and Nightshade looking pretty good. Obviously, it looks like we're going to be able to get, into that later weeks and have to play then, but it's not going to be easy, obviously. And depending on how things go here, suspect, I believe, me and you still don't necessarily know exactly who we will be playing in the playoffs because some of the maps could change, I believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely possible. Of course, the only things that are set in stone right now is that number 2 and that number 3 seed. They're not moving anywhere. So we know that no matter what the outcome, I believe we're having is the number 2 and number 3 will go up against each other on June 13th. But everything other than that is it's kind of up in the air of who's it is going to be. And of course, we've got UNew Haven against Ascent tonight, and those are like two middle standing teams, both vying for that higher seed.
Yeah, I believe it's actually first and second place. I believe Mountaineers still has one more game to play, and they could actually look to take first place, which would actually change up Nightshade's match as well. You could either play Mountaineers or Havoc, depending, I believe, on how that match that still has yet to be played, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I guess I was wrong about that one. That one can go different ways too. But for the most part, the top three teams, we're gonna see in those
Right.
playoffs. Right now, these play-ins, it's these other teams that are like vying for positions, vying for their ability to even be in the play-ins. In all honesty, so it'll be exciting to watch. I find, like you're in regular season and that is what it is. And towards the end of the regular season, maybe like the top teams start, not caring so much about their matchups. Maybe they start sandbagging, one could even say, and they just try to hold back their strategies a little bit. They try to not overplay their hands. Still get the W, but these lower tier teams that we have tonight, like they want it in. They want that higher seed. They want to do less games because right, if you're that bottom seed coming to the playoffs, you're gonna play like every single team in the playoffs
Yeah.
before we're done, and that can be grueling schedule wise for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy for these bottom teams to make it through the playoffs. And I certainly think that gives some really nice storylines. A lot of potential for teams that struggled in the regular season to sort of figure things out in the playoffs and bring things back there. Because what we've seen for sure is that no team is unbeatable. Everybody has been able to lose a game. And as you said, the matches we have tonight, very exciting because as you said, these teams can directly see now how it will impact their playoffs now that we're in this final week. They know what the result of this game will mean and how many games they'll have to play in the playoffs because of it. So, if anything, there's a lot on the line for these games. We could possibly see some Overwatch with maybe not the most intense Overwatch, but certainly we know that the most is on the line tonight that really there's been for the whole season. Again, as these teams directly can see how this will affect their playoff position and that what you like, as you said, suspect, what can be a grueling schedule if you're one of those bottom teams.
Absolutely, and of course, tonight we should have Potaters coming up here, and for their game in particular, there's a lot riding on if they can make playoffs or not tonight, because they are that ninth seed team, and of course, only our top eight teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're looking to get in there, hoping they can make it, and obviously looking at the fixtures, like you said. that Potaters game. They really need to pull something out here, but it's not going to be easy. You're playing against UAH Charger Blue, which is a team that took Havoc out. And, as Havoc's team manager, take me on my word for it. We certainly weren't intentionally sandbagging. This team, in my eyes, very genuinely beat us. They played a very good game, and Potaters has a rough matchup on their hands. It's the type of thing that's not going to be easy, but if they want to actually make these playoffs, they're going to have to win it. There's really no other way. They would have to win. Yeah, they would have to win today.
A win, no matter what, would guarantee them the spot, I believe,
Yeah.
at this stage. But
And if it is that, I believe Riot is the team left to play Mountaineers. If that's true, a Riot would, there's a chance that game's a 3-0. So Potaters could even take a map tonight. No, they would. No,
they would
even
have to
then,
win.
yeah,
They would have to win, and Riot would have to lose
You're right.
this week
They
as
do have
well,
to win.
and then that is that eighth seed, and even then you're just vying for that eighth seed. You'd have to proceed to fight on that seventh, the sixth, the fifth, the fourth, and then eventually the first seed. Like, it is not an easy battle. That said, whichever team does get it, I believe in them. I think they have an awesome shot because everyone likes an underdog.
Yeah, and I think as this tournament's gone on, those bottom teams have become a lot stronger. I think the records can kind of distort things a little bit. These teams have put up really strong matches against teams that are really all over the leaderboard. For example, we saw UNew Varsity. I know they 3-2'd Havoc. Just off the top of my head, we've seen teams from the bottom do things that you might not expect them to do, which I think goes to show that a lot of teams are doing their research, doing their homework, and stepping up. Because when you can see a top team play, all you have to do is catch up, right? You don't have to necessarily figure out the strategy for the first time. And that's great. That's what being competitive is all about. Those top teams have to try to continue to be the top teams, and that's where I think things get really interesting.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's easy to learn when you have an example to follow, and it's difficult to learn when you're at the top and just building it as you go. It's a blind brick by brick piece into the heavens. That said, moving on to in our night here, I'm getting very excited. We do have Ascent, we do have UNew. It is gonna be a fantastic match, Jumpenny.
Yeah, I'm very excited, and we are going to go into our Rogue Energy Power rankings here, and we're going to go check these out right now. All right, here we are looking at our Rogue Energy Power rankings. Remember, you can use code 413 Esports for 10% off your Rogue Energy purchase. If you're interested in Rogue Energy and maybe you don't want to buy any, make sure you follow, because at 500 followers, we're going to be doing a giveaway. 30 more followers, that is, I believe, doing a giveaway on some 413 merch, a Rogue Energy starter kit, or $10 in Battle.net balance. So make sure you guys follow so you don't miss these playoff matches and so you have a chance at winning that. Looking at our power rankings here, Havoc falling down below Mountaineers after their loss makes sense. UAH took a big game and made Havoc look not as strong, so they fall down below Mountaineers. We have Nightshade right up on their tail. All these teams in S tier have had really strong games against each other. We saw the Havoc Nightshade 3-2 game, very close.
Yeah.
UAH was able to take down Havoc, so they sort of retained their spot above Catalyst here, who Catalyst has looked a lot stronger as things gone on. And they're the type of team that I think could really pull things together in the playoffs and have an even bigger step forward. Suspect, how do you see the rest of these power rankings playing out in these final games?
I think for the rest of these power rankings, like I think Ascent versus UNew right now, and that's the game we're going into, of course, is pretty accurate. Like I think we see Ascent with a mildly worse map differential than UNew right now, but I think Ascent's pickups in the off season, and I think the lack of change in roster for the UNew varsity team, I feel like a lot of their problem players are players that you kind of notice, you're like, okay, that's kind of out of position. That's kind of like what's bringing you down. Like I think they haven't changed enough of their play style or their players, whereas Ascent has been making schmoves, Jumpenny. And of course, you see teams like Catalyst, and it's funny that you mentioned that they've been looking better. I would actually say Catalyst is the perfect representation of the Atlanta Reign.
Oh,
they are the gatekeepers of the middle tier. They lose to all the teams above them, but they crush all the teams below them.
Yeah, we've talked about the 0-3-3-0 thing, and I don't believe that that's remained true throughout the entire season, but it was pretty common to see Catalyst either sort of get rolled or do the rolling themselves. Certainly the gatekeepers, like you said. Yeah, Ascent's a team right there in the middle, and like you said, it sort of does make sense that they're ahead of UNew Haven based on what we've seen in the pickups and everything. I think these power rankings that we see here, I think they're really good. I think UNew Haven, Riot, obviously, have pretty similar talent levels. I think Riot makes sense a little bit below and a little bit above Potaters, but Potaters going up against it's UNew Haven. No, sorry, UAH, way up on the board. Obviously, this is a must-win game for them. So if there's something Potaters has, if there's a way that they can get this win out, they've had a win before in the season, so they know how to do it. If they can make frankly, what would be an upset against UAH, and UAH doesn't want to lose this either. This isn't the type of game. The way these playoffs go, you can't just say, "Oh well, we're in the playoffs. We can kind of, chill out a little bit," because you'll start falling down, and then you'll have to play more games to make it through the playoffs at the end. So UAH certainly is really going to be playing hard because Potaters, if you look at these power rankings, UAH is thinking to themselves, "This is not the type of team that we want to be able to knock us down in the playoffs and have us make us play another game, most likely."
Yeah, of course, and you know what? It comes down to two different like sides and theories, right? Like if you start at the bottom and start winning games and win and win and win and win, well, you've got an awful lot of momentum coming off.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, like especially once you start getting towards the higher level teams, right? The way that, let's say if one of these bottom two teams did get in, we'll use Ascent per se. The way that they would prepare for Catalyst is not the same way that they should be preparing for Havoc, right? So it's to go
Right.
from that game into the next game into the next game, where each of these teams played very different styles. It's like setting yourself up for failure. Like if you're a top team, you just have to prepare for the top two matches maybe, or the top three. But if you're going from the bottom to the top, then that's a lot of opponents that you have to analyze and be like, okay, for this person we have to do this, and for this person we have to do that. And do you practice for the higher up one and then risk losing to the lower? Because
Right.
if you practice as if you're playing against Havoc and you're building up that the passiveness and the control required to dismantle them, then you're going to get swept by the speed and aggression from WVU.
Yeah, exactly. There are teams that play very different from each other, or even that certain teams are very capable of changing how they play if it means they can get the win. I think that's something a lot of the top teams, if not all, of maybe the even upper half of these teams are capable of switching up the way they play. We've seen some teams have a lot of subs that come in, other teams, you can really just see how the pacing can get changed. And as you said, if you're that bottom team, the teams that you're playing have way more time to prepare for you because let's say you're the third team that let's say you're a bottom team and you've won 3 games. That team, the fourth team that you're playing, they know that you've won a lot of games and that you're on a sort of momentum swing. So they're probably going to be more prepared for you, and they have a lot of playoff games of you to analyze, in which it's a playoff game. You were most likely going all out and showing, everything you have. So I think there's obviously, a reasonable disadvantage to being lower. And I think it'll be interesting to see if any of these teams can overcome that.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree. That said, Jumpenny, we're getting into that part of the night where we move on to our caster predictions.
Yeah, right before we go into obviously what is a very exciting match between it's going to be Potaters and UAH Charger Blue. I got to give it to UAH Charger Blue. I think they're a very strong team here. I think they could look in to take a strong game. I wouldn't count Potaters out though because they know they're playing on their back foot tonight. It's a must-win game for them. Certainly going to see some interesting things come out from Potaters to try to make this work.
Absolutely, and of course we're getting that little bit of flavor, that Jumpenny flavor, but the match at hand, Jumpenny, is the Ascent versus the UNew Haven.
Of
And of course,
course.
in
Yes.
that particular one, I believe Potaters have a strong foothold. However, I would have to give it to one of the teams playing.
Yeah.
I think my goat is gonna go with Ascent. I don't think the power rankings are wrong. I don't think the fixtures do all the justice required.
Yeah, while UAH is certainly a great team, the fact that they're not playing in this game is going to make it very hard for them to win. That being said, this is a hard game. I mean, it's really one that I could see going a lot of the ways, but at the end of the day, I'm giving this one to Ascent. I think they're a strong team, and I think they've worked really hard on their core. I think Ascent's got this game tonight. And we are going to be going in soon now that we have our predictions out of the way. We're going to be soon going into our game. I'm excited to see what these two teams bring out, Suspect. What do you think we could see? Obviously, we don't know which control map will be going on just yet. Um, how do you think these two teams will look to approach it, and what do you think we've seen from them throughout the rest of the season, potentially?
I feel like Ascent is kind of like a core team of just acceptable players. Like I don't see a whole lot of huge playmakers there. The problem is there's not a lot of chinks in the armor either. It's like you kind of have to be able to beat them as a team altogether. Whereas I think it's a cool division where you look at a team like UNew Haven tonight, who are coming in playing, and you see the Meg and you see Halen, and you're like, holy crap, these two are insurmountable. So I feel like it's a real test of that individual pop-off play style of I'm the hard carry versus that, you know, well-rounded team of acceptable.
Yeah, and we'll see if anybody is able to hard carry tonight in this game for either team. And obviously, we'll see how these teams plan to play and prepare for each other. We're going to be going to a very, very short ad break. Stick around. We're going to be going right into the match after that ad break is over, I believe. So you don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are going to be going into our first map here shortly. These two teams are ready to play each other, and I'm frankly really excited to see they each pull out. Um, how do you think this match is going to go? What comps do you think we could see on Busan, depending on which map we get?
Well, of course, all the escort maps, they have a lot of division in like the play styles per stage, right? And depending on, you know, if you get that stage that you're good at, you could really set the tone of the rest of the map, right? For instance, you have those crazy brawl teams that if you load up on mecha base, then the better brawl team is going to win the mecha base battle, and then have that momentum going into the other maps. And now, of course, we're coming out here and we're seeing these teams coming together, and we see these lineups. And it's looking pretty much similar right down the line for both teams right now, except with that, of course, difference of, and we don't know if we'll stay it, but Halen's on this Reaper and Honchu on this McCree. And
Yeah,
that's a big difference maker, I think.
yeah, we're seeing the teams kind of play the patch notes here. The patch that just came out is wait, is it live for this game?
It's live. Yep, it is.
For this
I
game?
believe so.
So I believe that patch is live for this game. That could obviously be influencing the Reaper pick here over the McCree pick. I think both heroes are still pretty strong, but obviously Reaper with the buff, McCree with the nerf. You might expect Reaper to be ahead. We're going to find out very soon as Halen is chipping in Omu Tofu. He goes down to a Reaper in his hip. The Reaper of Halen was just in there life-stealing and not able to be dealt with. That buff may be huge there. Megalodon finding a pick on the Jinro as well. That's going to be massive, and it looks like, yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to get this point. I think that's going to send it back to the drawing board. Halen again on that Reaper. Really, really a thorn in the side of that Reinhardt there.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a huge different maker. We've already seen them come apart where Halen's raw damage output is just going to shred those tanks. You see it in Omotofu and IP Flower Child. They both, 20 ult charge to the pair, and the Meg has been splitting these teams apart so eloquently that they just can't really get a good fight. The Meg's already ready, and there's the tank split again.
Tank split is huge. We see UNew Haven getting that early pick on Omutofu, who goes down again at the start of the fight. It's hard with that Reaper on you. There's a big shatter with no Reinhardt, sorry, to block it. Coming out from Funny Buns, hits big. They're gonna send the enemy team struggling. It's gonna be hard here for Ascent to really recover after those two team fights, but we know Mecha Base is a chaotic map. It's not over yet.
Absolutely, but I like that UNew Haven is taking the initiative, right? That they are waiting for them to cross that boundary, and then they use the wall, get the picks, drop the wall, and keep pushing. You know, they're not letting the stragglers get out. They're not giving any ground.
Yeah, they're not at all. They're making sure to clean up these kills here as they try to come up the stairs. Ascent gets caught by the mirror from UNew Haven Varsity. Funny Buns now just cleaning up. Wow, that's a 3-man for the Reinhardt there. Now they're at 60%, and they have a Diva Bomb and Reaper ultimate with Beat coming online. The no beat here for Ascent is going to make it really hard for them to win this fight, despite what may look like an ult advantage off the bat.
Absolutely, I agree. And they're taking this quick rotation underneath to make it more difficult to get walls, and I like that play a lot.
Yeah,
and
UNew
finally
Haven,
ultimates get used.
UNew Haven wasn't ready for that play, but here they are. They're here now. Ascent is starting to get this fight because they were on the point first. UNew Haven, or Varsity, actually, yeah, UNew Haven Varsity wasn't ready for that rotation. They didn't quite see it coming, and it really caught them off guard to where, even though they had the high ground, they had to fight back for the space on point, meaning they probably had to use more resources, which allowed Ascent, I think, there to get the fight.
Of course, a large alt investment from Ascent for that fight win, however, so we're coming into this with a mild but significant alt advantage if you're UNew Haven.
Yeah, the ults I put out for UNew Haven don't get used, so the walls come up now early in this fight. Funny Buns is low. The shatter doesn't hit, hits too. It looked like it didn't hit, but it certainly did. Halen is using these ultimates, are coming through, and there's a big shatter. Only catches a baby diva as Funny Buns goes down. Omutofu is brawling in the middle of the enemy team, but they know he can't stay alive for much longer. It looks like Varsity is going to take this point back, which is going to send Ascent struggling to try to fight for their last percentage here and try to get this point back one more time if they can.
Absolutely, and I would say a fantastic play from Halen right there, who picks up 3 in that fight. However, the stall's coming back in, so this is going to be huge for Ascent, trying to get their percentages up a little higher.
Yeah, Ascent they want to get that percentage up. I think there's actually almost a problem here, though, because if they would have regrouped, they could have taken a full team fight possibly before the point had ever flipped. But because of these spawns, they're not going to get a full team fight now. They might have not gotten one regardless, but I actually think that stall was a little bit of a mistake. They're getting to the point, though. They have walls up. Edgy goes down early for UNew Haven Varsity, and it looks like Varsity with this lead could take it. We see the mirrors. We see a high noon get used and nothing come of it. Edgy's down with no freeze. Picks are coming through for Varsity, and I think they're going to clean up this point.
Absolutely. Halen dedicated to putting this team on his back right now as he's already picked off a couple. And really, you know, showing that star potential we highlighted coming into this match.
Yeah, Halen played a great game. I think the Reaper pick was really smart, again, especially with the recent buff. I think it showed there really huge, especially the fact that, you know, maybe they don't, I don't know how often they play that Reaper comp, so if that is an adjustment to the patch, it's, you know, it's pretty big to be able to sort of throw a new character in like that. We see both of the teams maybe trying something new here. Their compositions are getting a little different here.
Yeah, and Halen's moving back over to the McCree. I don't know if that's going to be a staple or not, but they're staying on this brawl, which I appreciate. And it looks like Sense is going over to this double bubble. And of course, you know, we've known Sense to be a little bit better at the dive comps than to the brawl comps. That said, that doesn't stop me from disliking their double bubble play. I think you have to win the brawl mirror here because double bubble is just not the play against a brawl. As soon as you get that Ryan versus Monkey, it's not a winnable fight. But
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean, and obviously, you know, it depends on the players going up against each other. For sure, I think Double Bubble struggles against the Brawl. I think the main problem, too, is that Double Bubble, if it's going to win against Brawl, it has to do something a bit more creative, whereas Brawl is just kind of deathballing in. It's not as hard to try to win a team fight, at least thinking-wise. AP Flower Child does find Sunday here. So the Diva mech down, that's going to be big. They're not going to have that defensive matrix up to keep people alive, and on that, Ascent are rolling through this right now. Not before the Megalodon managed to find a pick, but yeah, it looks like Ascent's going to get this going in their favor and capture this point here.
an absolute unreal amount of damage going on to Omotofu right now, and an even more significant amount of healing. Bazinga already getting this nano boost coming off when neither support from UNew Haven has their ultimate yet, and that's a real difference maker right now. Of course, like the tanks, Funny Buns, Sunday not really getting that kind of value, maybe holding their shields too much against this double bubble, because the monkey really doesn't care. He's just gonna taser you one way or the other. And this poke is going very well, these poke stages. There's the nano monkey into the primal, absolute beast on this cliff, however he gets frozen up.
Yeah, this is huge. That nano monkey goes in, he gets the ultimate and uses it, so Ascent can continue to roll the way that UNew Haven did on the first point. Now it seems to be Ascent. Their double bubble, I gotta say, is working out for them because it seems like that monkey is maybe a little bit more survivable. They also have better ult combos than that brawl comp, which doesn't really play for ult combos as often. Whereas double bubble always gonna play for ult combos, and when your monkey is ahead of the enemy Reinhardt in ult charge, that's always gonna be a good sign for your double bubble, I gotta say.
Absolutely inclined to agree, and now we see them coming back through this main progression, which I don't hate and I don't love, and Halen absolutely shuts them down.
Yeah, Omotofu goes in for a dive. Looks like he was searching for the McCree, but really finds himself in no man's land. Now it's going to be on Ascent to try to just stall out this point. The flip does go the way of UNew Haven, so now they have it. And unfortunately for Ascent, it seems like they used their rally and they don't have the point anymore. So this rally, frankly, is probably going to go to waste. They're trying to retouch now, though. The Diva Bomb does catch Edgy. So they have a recontest and they have some picks. The double bubble is looking really good for Ascent. When in a fight that seemed desperately lost, they look to be turning it around right now if Omotofu can make something happen. May has to go into the point and touch, and down goes Islander. Huge plays from Hantu on the McCree right now, and Bazinga on the Ana has been just shutting the enemy team down right now. Ascent's going to get the point back and hardly give up any percentage.
That's absolutely crazy to see. Of course, Halen at the beginning of that fight deletes Omotofu, proceeds to take Edgy out of that ultimate, and then frags out Hantu in the duel and McCree duel, and it's still not enough as the support line and AP Flower Child just survive for so long on that point. Now we see Sunday moving over to the Zarya and the Meg moving over to that Echo. I'm not particularly crazy about those plays, but it's definitely an adaptation, which is better than nothing. Jake Hans, however, going over the Moira, I think I might hate.
Ultimate's coming out. We have the Nano Monkey, the beat, but the Grav comes out after the beat, which is pretty nice for Ascent, despite the fact that even Flower Child goes down. They have an Angry Monkey in the backline, but they're losing members quick. They have to commit the rally here to get the Reinhardt down. Big Anthe, but the Lucio looks like he might get away. Monkey is chasing him down. Omotofu can't find him, but Edgy does. And now the point is being cleared. The way of Ascent, they have 99. Copies coming out to try to make it go their favor because these stragglers for UNew Haven are just sticking around. The suspect, we got a 1-1 on our hands.
Absolutely, and that was unreal. The way that the double bubble, like as a team, they just performed better than UNew Haven did. Whereas UNew Haven, like they had pop-off potential. They started almost every fight up a man, and they still managed to lose those fights. That's unreal. That's unacceptable if you're a team at this point. Like you can't have an early fight win and then not win that fight. Like early picks and then not winning fights, that's poor coordination. And I think Essence is just feeding off of it right now. They're vibing with it. They take that. They'll take those.
Yeah, especially in sort of the method that Omotofu just went in. Obviously, he was looking to give his team resources by having them invest their resources. They get ult charge, they get Zarya charge out of that. Just went a little too into the deep end, but seemingly his team followed up really well. And that could be big because even if your main tank's feeding, your best chance at winning that fight is going to be to follow it up. And now these teams meet in a slightly interesting position. Even Varsity has sort of gotten the tower here, while Ascent is fighting for the point. Hantu goes down, though, due to the poke from UNew Haven right now. Pretty intense stuff. Gets Hantu down, and that's a big player down for Ascent. Now it's a 5v6 without maybe your star player in Hantu as well.
Absolutely, and we're seeing this break out here, and it's actually a battle of the poke comps, where you have Halen, the Meg, and Funny Buns in your back line, and then Sunday, J-Con, and Island are kind of like sustaining in the back line as like this mini bunker comp. Versus, the double bubble variant of these poke comps where we have like they're poking for ultimates and they're just trying to like slowly rotate cooldowns to win the fight overall. So of course in that early fight, you see Hantu go down, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, the characters on the other team are just more survival. You have that Ana, that and that Brigitte and that Zarya, they just live longer than the Sig and the Zen.
Yeah, we see how UNew Haven here actually goes with the swaps. It seems like Funny Buns wants the Winston now over the ball. The big anti-hits on the side of Ascent, but no follow-up can happen. Obviously, they haven't quite pushed in enough for that to be the case. The Monkey goes in, gets the resources committed. There's the double bubble out. Obu Tofu goes in and gets a pick, gets antied for it, but probably is just barely going to make it out, actually. Obu Tofu does. And Ascent's going to get a very clean teamfight win. Honestly, UNew Haven didn't get much of anything going in that teamfight there.
And it's super hard because Edgy's already winning in this duplicate form, race. So you had a double monkey in your backline, and that's not something you can sustain without a rally.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's already like GG's, call it there and try to peel back for the monkeys, I guess. Hard call.
And speaking of the monkeys, they're certainly going in. Edgy goes to get Funny Buns, who goes down to the beam. Now Omutofu's looking for the same value. Hantu finding picks off of that space created. Omutofu now ults into this to just seemingly clean up these stragglers. Hopefully they can get another pick here before anyone makes it back into spawn. Down goes the Megalodon. Ascent, they're really strong here. They could take this map.
Well, right now it looks like the Ascent's going to take this map 100-0. Jaycons uses the Nano Boost, though.
Yeah, the Monkey trying to get in. Do they get a touch? They do. The Tracer Halen is in on the point now. Grav coming out as well from both teams. Not much follow-up to be found. They're trying to clean the Grav Sunday. Very low on the point. Picks are going either way right now. It seems like UNew Haven Varsity could have a flip here, but the Echo copy is up. Edgy is here and might have a rally soon. That could be massive. No rally for you. Edgy goes back down. Omu Tofu's back in, but all they're doing is really stalling it. It's hard to imagine that somehow Ascent could get any picks here without the Ana being able to find a nade. The Monkey jumps off the map to get that kill.
Perhaps a little over-dedication from Funny Buns to get that kill, and I gotta say, that's a huge play from Jaycons, using that Nano Boost on a Funny Buns to make his poor positioning a valuable position and creating space with that Monkey in order to get them that entrance onto the point so that Halen can really frag out in the backlines and the Meg can go big on the front line. Of course, Islander being this huge force for UNew Haven right now, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They have a Nano Boost coming into this fight, and Sunday's on the ball. It's not really an ideal situation, unless you're Ascent. In the Ascent's world, this is beauty situation.
Yeah, honestly, Ascent looking pretty set up right now. They go in with the Nano Monkey. They can't find the Brig down. Monkey gets bubbled. Goes in yet again. Echo finds a pick on the Echo. The Echo duel is won by Edgy, but Omu Tofu is down now. Edgy trying to capitalize off the space made by their main tank going in. Jinro's rallying on the point, taking some for sure. Hantu finds the ball, gets slept out of his high noon, and that's going to be massive. Islander is now antied, and it is an all-out brawl on this point. Ascent at one point looked like they might have been winning this fight, and now they're not. They're going to have to come back with some ultimates here.
And at the end of the day, I think that one was, like, there was an early fight pick from Edgy this time. Didn't matter because Halen is just an absolute beast in your backline. And if you don't stop this man, he's going to take over your game. He almost took over a game against Havoc. Like, this guy needs to be shut down.
Yeah, no, Halen is certainly the type of player you have to keep out for in the comms, especially now on that Tracer on this point can stall so much. Double Monkey going in. Omu Tofu is the one nanoed, I believe. No, maybe it was Edgy, actually. They're both in. They're both angry, and they're both swinging right now. Both of them are finding picks as well. It's so sad. One monkey versus two is never fun. The Echo Monkey from the side of Varsity tries to recover, but it isn't enough to stop this onslaught from Ascent. Varsity got it up to 95, but it looks like Ascent's going to take it back right at the end.
Yeah, and these last couple ultimates just sealing the fate for UNew Haven as they're sent back to the drawing board. One up for Ascent.
Yeah, that was great from Ascent. A really close back and forth, especially if you consider how the last map and, sort of the first map went as well. It almost looked like Varsity had a strong lead off the first map. That was not the case. Ascent takes a very strong map there. I think Ascent is looking pretty favorable so far in this matchup based off of that. But let's see going into the second match what exactly they can do here versus UNew Haven Varsity. If Varsity can do anything to bring it back for them. We'll be right back after a short intermission. You guys don't want to go anywhere. All right, we are here getting ready to go back in again. Very excited to see what these two teams can do each other against each other, because we've had a very close matchup so far.
Absolutely. A close matchup, but kind of one side favored, especially towards the end. I felt like Ascent had finally, like, after that first map, they had figured out what they needed to do to get through, and they were now executing. And they're at the point of execution rather than just like the figuring out stage. But that said, you know, the next map, totally something different. You know, we could see a much more brawl-like map, and it looks like we will be seeing a much more brawl-like map on King's Row here. And I'm very excited to see. Of course, this is one of those maps that everyone's like, we should run brawl here. But Ascent is like pretty commonly like, nah, man, let's run a dive here and let's just punish McCree players who are out of position. So it'll be a lot of onus onto Halen, who's actually opting currently for what seems to be a Hanzo pick. Joe Penny, what's your stance on this?
Yeah, the Hanzo pick is interesting. It obviously plays into Grav Dragon. That's probably the first thing they're going to look for with that. Even Freeze Dragon is sort of a thing, but, you know, it's not as efficient possibly, so not really something you would look for, but could be a, you know, a play you call because you have it. Yeah, Grav Dragon's big. A lot of teams, I think, go for the Hanzo on a map like King's Row because of the sight lines you can take, obviously. I think it's going to be hard. I doubt Hantu will stay on this Widow, but it could be a thing where Hantu wants to take a couple shots. And if Hantu finds out there's a Hanzo, they might actually choose to stay on the Widow, which could be dangerous for that Hanzo player.
No, it looks like they're going in that mirror. So now we see a Hanzo versus Hanzo.
Ooh.
No Zarya for the offensive team here of Ascent. So in a resource trade, one team is going to have the advantage. CQ1 going very aggressive here right off the bat. Both Immortality Fields down, both walls down. No picks gone either way yet.
There was a huge boop just then. Omu
Yeah.
Tofu was pinned into the corner, and CQ1 had his number, but a boop came through that sent CQ1 away from that pin. That would have been a huge first fight that could have really just immediately gone their way. CQ1, though, does get the fire strike on Edgy, does get the kill on Omu Tofu, or at least Sunday does, and that's going to be the early fight when it's obviously hard for these attacking teams to bust through on the first attempt, but they're going to see if they can get some ultimates now. Edgy going on to the Reaper here, swapping that. See if they can get a little bit more value here, maybe have a bit more presence in the front line.
It's going to be a lot more damage for sure, but you're losing out on that main utility. The utility that May brings, and Meg is just so good. The Megalodon absolutely a master at capitalizing on the... Oh, as I say that.
Yeah, it looks like the wall and the mirrors come up. Big Shatter hits on the side of Omu Tofu, and they're going to clean up this point off that, it looks like. That's a huge Shatter. Huge play for Omu Tofu there. CQ1 had his Shatter. Omu Tofu just got his off earlier and way better.
Absolutely. Of course, we are seeing this freeze coming up right now, and that can win a fight all on its own. A lot of pressure on AP Flower Child to eat it. If the Meg gets this off, it could be the fight one right here, and then you're stuck at Archways for the next 10 years of your life.
Yeah, the Archways are being pushed. There's the wall. That's an early opener. We see the Dragon coming through. It's naked because, you know, you have a Diva. It catches the Islander, though, and Hantu finds CQ1 as well. 2 picks for Hantu. It looks like we're going to have Ascent rolling through this, but their main tank is down. That's never a good sign, but I think they have the pick advantage right now. Varsity probably doesn't even want to take this fight.
No, they shouldn't, but that said, they do still have their win condition alive. Their Zarya and their Hanzo's just kind of vibing out in this backline here. Totally unscathed. So if AP Flower Child misses the ball for even so much as a second, that's a 6-man, you know, cleanup ult combo that can happen regardless of how many people you have alive.
You're watching these Ryans fire strike the corner as their ult charge flies through the roof, obviously. Pretty much having shatters already. The grab comes out, and it looked like we had an attempt at sort of a wall shatter, but it obviously didn't seem to hit. It almost got blocked, but the Dragon comes through from Varsity. That's going to finish up. That being said, Varsity committed some ultimates there. Wait, CQ1 still has shatter. I thought he used it. I must have just been seeing things there for sure.
Yeah, of course. However, the big combo that got off was that grab dragon, as we talked about, completely halts the momentum. Both teams out of beat now. AP Flower Child getting horribly staggered in that baby diva form is something you don't really have to worry about when you have a Zarya. That said, I mean, it's a lot of pressure. You know, AP Flower Child has the ability to just shut down half of the composition from UNew. He just hasn't yet. Now a lot more ultimates on the side of Ascent. They come into this. Oh, but a fantastic freeze on your back line. They just fall over time.
We have the May going in with the freeze here. That's big. Obviously, you pointed out the Megalodon, but Edgy has an ultimate coming online. The Islander goes down to it. Edgy goes down as well, though. And like you said, that Megalodon on the May has been huge all day long. That's a huge freeze, and huge walls have just made it so hard for Ascent here to really get a good foothold and really get this point pushing for too long at a time.
Yeah, and now we're getting up to another Grav Dragon, and if they just keep rotating these ultimates like that, where it's freeze one fight, Grav Dragon the next, oh, or big shatters.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there goes. Oh my gosh, they both come through, and they hit with the dragon on top as well. G-Cons goes down in Ascent, now getting some momentum in their favor. Obviously, we're gonna look to see these ultimates though. They're about to come online here. This could be huge for UNew Haven Varsity.
Absolutely. Grab Dragon, though, it's still there. It's completely doable. You see, if we can get that combination off, AP Flower Child has the tool to deny it, an early window comes out, and that can be a big difference maker right now.
Yeah, that can be huge as we have Bazinga on the mirror, throwing it out here into the enemy team. It looks like the dragon coming through into the grab. There is an immortality in play, but it goes down. And we see the dragons coming through. UNew Haven Varsity hit that big. We have 1 minute and 40 seconds counting, and it looks like they're not going to be able to push this in. Wow, just at 135, and it looks like, oh my gosh, this fight still picks coming through just now for UNew Haven Varsity Ascent. They got some good push, but they don't have very much time left. Only 1 minute and 23 on the clock.
Absolutely. And it's a very close right now. There's that Grab Dragon gone. But the Megalodon comes back up closer to this ultimate, and you have this early window if you choose to use it. That can be a huge tool to build some ultimates. AV Flower Child has to use his DM to get through in that kind of situation. Bazinga getting very low in the back line. Great window for some space. Omotofu almost immediately gets destroyed.
Yeah, that mirror is going to be huge. The BAP now gets his immortality field. It goes down. CQ1 just trying to find this. They're both Rhines really not sure what space they want to take right now. Obviously, CQ1 is a defensive Rhine. He doesn't have to do anything, but Hantu is in. Hantu barely surviving here. These DPS are hard on the flank as they rotate around. There's a big split, big shatter, but it only catches a couple. But it looks like the tanks of Varsity are just catching the backline off while it looked like Ascent tried to push the cart. They're seems like their DPS and backline and their tanks were just sort of uncoordinated from each other, and Varsity ran on it. Very good call from them. Only 20 seconds left right now for Ascent to have a chance here, and I don't know if they can even get to this point.
It's Edgy's turn to shine. Bazinga has the window to take the early space. If Edgy blossoms behind it, then there's nowhere for a Haven to go, and then it's a beat versus beat. Absolute mad lad time for Jinro.
Oh, and they do get the touch just as time runs out, and the ultimates are coming through. Obviously, they're committing everything here because this is last fight territory. Both teams have committed everything they have. The beats, the Grav Dragon, just everything has been absolutely ridiculous for Varsity, who look like they're going to hold on to this right now. Ascent so close to that second objective, but they're not going to be able to give it. Or to get it, I should say. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be held. Varsity, huge hold. They have what looks like an easy King's Row ahead of them.
Score 0-1.
Yeah, fantastic plays from both teams there, but in the end, I think UNew Haven just had a better lock on how to play the Brawl defense, and they had an interesting play where they wrapped Ascent, and just Ascent's backline was not ready. And of course, into that May ult and Shatter, they just kind of fell over. Difficult plays for either side. Interesting to see, Hantu and Edgy really stick to that Reaper Hanzo picks. Not a lot of utility in those two heroes, but definitely a lot of damage.
Yeah, the damage over the utility, shows up big, but it looks like we're seeing it. What I think is really interesting from these two teams is how they've really been willing to change up their comps for each other. Really been able to sort of switch things up. And right now, we're seeing an example of that. It looks like the defensive team, which usually you would see the offense come out with a Symmetra. It looks like Hantu is actually on the Symmetra as they all sort of gather around the hotel here. That teleporter going down just now. I'm curious how they're going to use that teleporter.
Perhaps they use the teleporter to get into an interesting backline position and then play as if a wrap from the UNew Haven, but that could just be one analyst's opinion. The Meg on this this Widow pick and Halen on the Hanzo pick. It'd be interesting to see if they stay on this. I don't imagine they will. But Megalodon new ons? Question mark. Let's see.
Attackers incoming.
Yeah, it looks like the Megalodon on the Widow so far probably gonna swap, going down. Gonna see probably a Mei come out. Yeah, Megalodon on the Mei. Something we've seen a lot and something we know the Megalodon is very comfortable on is this Mei pick. It's been absolutely huge all season long. And I'm not at all surprised to see it coming out here for Varsity when it really matters. Again, this looks like not a hard King's Row for them. When you only have 2 points to capture, it seems very doable, but, you know, obviously Ascent couldn't do it. So let's see what UNew Varsity can do here as Islander goes down early to Omu Tofu. That's a strong start to a stronghold for Ascent.
Absolutely. CQ1 to follow. The resources just not being traded perhaps as ideally. And that, I think, something that's underrated a lot is the amount of damage that the Symmetra can really put out with that beam when it gets going. It just melts through that Reinhardt and Zarya bubbles.
Yeah, it looks like AP Flower Child now getting that final pick. Gonna be, you know, not super close to the Grav. Way behind Sunday. And I think that's a big thing here because the offensive team is building their ults really well. That being said, there's a mirror online already for Ascent, so certainly some ult battles are going different ways. That mirror could be massive. We look to see it come out early. There it is. Megalodon takes out Hantu, though. So despite the mirror coming out for Ascent, Ascent loses a player. The Shatter gets blocked by Mutofu. CQ1 is swinging in, but goes down to Edgy. Both teams have lost a player here. This could really still go either way. The mirror coming out now.
Yeah, that nailed. The most big difference maker of the century as they take that point with that play.
Yeah, that mail comes out huge from the Megalodon to really just capture that space. It's one of those things where even if you're not immediately in the freeze or you can still make it out, the space that ultimate can take when it's put in the right position is so detrimental to your team.
Absolutely, and now we're rotating onto this Grab Dragon. Again, you know, a huge ult combo, and all that they really have to answer off the bat is going to be this sim wall. Not really an ideal situation. However, that is an ideal wall on the CQ1.
Yeah, things are a little scary here for Ascent. They're getting rotated on ults right now. The wall comes out early to try to take a fight. This is actually good for them. You can try to take a fight before the Grav comes out. They obviously don't know exactly what percentage it's at. The freeze comes in, catches CQ1 out. It's going to catch the Megalodon as well, it looks like. I don't think they have a way to keep the Megalodon alive. Have to use freeze. And it looks like Ascent able to push in here. This is exactly what Ascent needed to have a chance at keeping this King's Row. They had to get some team fights. And holding it the archway, that's huge for Ascent.
Huge and also perhaps impossible as they round up on this Grab Dragon now firmly in their grasp. Double support ults could sustain it though, you know, the immortality is just in the right place. It is doable, however, just not feasible. It looks like CQ1 also gonna have to shatter against the Omotofu. Oh my god, dude, it was a 6-man shatter.
Wow.
Huge
Grab Dragon.
My god. Grab Dragon shatter.
Yeah, the shatter
was a 6-man.
It's huge, and it probably stopped an immortality from coming out at the end of the day, or a beat that could have been huge for Ascent. I've noticed they commit Shatter into a lot of Grab Dragons, and I almost wonder if that's intentional. It kind of seems like it sometimes works to stop the supports from getting their immortality abilities out as the two tanks meet each other, your suspect.
Absolutely, and there's that Mei ult that comes out, and the Shatter gets canceled by the Mei ult. This is horrific if you're Ascent right now. You just want to touch the point. The Megalodon says, no! Get out of my video game.
Very interesting how the momentum has just gone back and forth. It is really difficult to tell at any moment which team is ahead, given how they're just going back and forth with each other. We now have a 1-1 map score, I believe, suspect.
Yeah, absolutely. A 1-1 Ascent versus UNew Varsity, and it is a absolute nail-biter of a game. It was so impressive to go from, well, I think Ascent is just going to win this because they have such a dominant double bubble, to, oh my god, a 6-man shatter from CQ1. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge play from them. We're going to go to a short intermission so that we can give these teams a moment to strategize for each other, because clearly both teams are pulling out some crazy things that each team needs a little moment to plan for. We will be right back after this short intermission. All right, everybody, we are going to be back here going into yet another map. These teams are 1-1, so we've got a lot of Overwatch left just in this map alone, or in this match alone, I should say, despite the other match we have coming up. And these teams are very evenly matched. I'm really impressed with how back and forth this game has been. Suspect, what are you seeing that is keeping these two teams so close? Is it that I personally, I see a lot in the DPS players. I see Halen and the Megalodon making huge plays. Meanwhile, Edgy seems very strong on the Echo. It seems to me that we have a lot of strong DPS players and obviously a lot of strong players in this ball. And that, you know, these certain DPS players, it's sort of their hero pools that differentiate them, in, you know, skill, because they're all just really good teams, or really good DPS players, I should say.
I would say it's beyond just the DPS players map pool, but I think the team's map pool, right? You know, we've always known Ascent to be a more dive-oriented team. And as we see them on Rialto here, coming out on this full, pretty much standard double bubble with a Widowmaker interjected, like it's pretty guessable kind of thing. Whereas, you know, you see UNew Varsity, an absolute brawl demon. And they came out on King's Row. It seems mostly predictable at this point. So I think it'll come down to a sense in the end, mostly because they just have that map picks. If it keeps going like this, we see that dive prepared from the side of Ascent as they come into this. The Meg is on the Echo. I'm not sure if I love it. I'm not sure if I hate it. We'll see. And double bubble. I've been duped. Thank you so much, AP Flower Shot. I hate you.
Yeah, it would seem that the dive is the more preferred comp, but obviously it could just be, you know, based on the maps they're playing. But we have seen Ascent go to dive when we maybe expected a brawl on certain maps. So I think they're, you know, it's something they're playing right now that they feel strong about. And I think especially when it's working into the brawl, there are certain maps where it's very favorable for this comp. They're working it really well. They're just poking, not doing anything. No hard commits. That's not something you can really do on this double bubble comp against a brawl. You have to go in, get your resources, and get out. And hope you can get a nice ult combo going. So Tofu is doing all the right things right now. Maybe he could take a position on that high ground, right? Instead of just having to walk onto the corner in the Reinhardt. Maybe trying to get up on the high ground might be nice. You at least force them to rotate you out. And you can see this double bubble is stalling, because that's what this comp does. They stall for their ultimates, and they have it now. Nano Monkey is in the back line. And this is so dangerous. So hard to deal with that Nano Monkey damage. He finds the entire back line, Suspect.
Absolute demon in the back line as Tofu just goes off. And that's exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to take a couple posture dives, just, you know, mess around a little bit, build your ultimates. You will generally get Nano before you get any other ultimate in this game. And then you Nano the Monkey and he builds the Primal, and it's just a never-ending failing system. But Edgy on that duplication so early as well, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge duplicate going in. It's actually the Megalodon on the duplicate. Edgy now. Oh, sorry, yeah. Now the Megalodon on the duplicate, getting a chance to show that Echo play as Halen finds the pick. Both are finding them though, but there's the Grav Dragon, and a beat actually gets thrown out on the side of Varsity. They get that ult combo yet again. The Grav Dragon serves them well, stopping Ascent from capping this first point.
Kind of a sad stagger coming out from Bazinga. Not something you're going to be too worried about, because they got like an extra 43% on their ultimate there just from that little stagger. But yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little overinvest, but it worked out, right? You have to hold the point at the end of the day. These archways can be impossible, especially for a double bubble. And now we see those switch coming through. The Zen, the Soldier, Halen moves over to this Reaper. So it'll be very interesting to see how quickly Tofu can get bursted.
Yeah, especially with the mirror in his face when he dives in. He does manage to stay alive, but not for long. Even on the position he's taken, he has flankers. Has to jump out. Edgy, though, finds the Megalodon copies, gets shattered. But hey, I'll take that. It's just the same to use your own Echo Shatter as to get the enemy shatters out, as far as I'm concerned. Even more valuable in certain ways. To get the enemy Ryan Shatter out than to use your own on the Echo copy, because, you know, you can get as many as you want. He only has the one to use, and that's actually a huge play, huge second copy from Edgy, I believe, on the first point.
2 copies. So now Edgy's coming up and about to lap the Megalodon on these copies, and that's not exactly where you want to be if you're UNew Varsity coming into this. Now the cart's rolling, Monkey's getting tickles. There's the nano boost going in. He misses his jump onto the high ground though, so it's just gonna be kind of an awkward nano boost where they just kind of like tickle along cart for a little while.
Yeah, Omu Tofu getting more and more charge, looking close to that monkey ultimate, which can be really big in this particular space. The enemy team might even be surprised if they get thrown off the map. It's not something you're always thinking about, but it's very possible that Omu Tofu throws them the whole way into the drink. Right now, we have a copy coming out from Edgy yet again. The Megalodon still doesn't have a copy right now. After that first one, Halen dies with the ultimate, so Ascent is looking strong. They throw the visor in. Copy Shatter gets blocked very well by CQ1, but Jinro going down with that Immor is huge for Varsity. They're starting to roll this. That grab hits nobody, but they do manage to save a good bit of ultimates for next fight still.
Yeah, and the Megalodon actually showing up on this Echo a little bit for, I feel like, the first time in this series, in all honesty. He will give his life for it in the end, but finally, you know, we've been like, okay, there's the Meg. There's that presence on the field. His ability to regulate the space and control the enemy team on Mei is so invaluable, and it's been like Edgy's just winning that duel on the Echo so far. And in that fight particularly, the Meg got a couple of really good kills, and I think that's what you need to see from the Meg every fight now.
Yeah, the Megalodon, you know, like we said, these DPS certainly have preference characters, so it seems like the Megalodon might have to step up against Edgy here. So far, has been winning the Echo duel. Now that Shatter hits home, Jinro goes and gets CQ1. Sunday finds Omu Tofu now as the Immor is online. Both teams kind of posturing right now, not sure what to do with these 4v4 situations. It can be a little confusing. Do we want to go? Do we want to come back? At the end of the day, CQ1 is respawned. Halen is going in and finds Jinro and might find another huge aggressive play for Halen. I thought he was going to go down off that one, but actually really staggers Ascent here. Great play for Varsity.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic play, and that's who we were talking about right at the beginning of this match, right? The Megalodon, Halen. The Megalodon, Halen. How many times can these two get in this kill feed? How many times can they make this unreal play that just sets the tone for the entire team fight? And how often can Ascent rally and just be a team and get through these huge plays? The Meg gets very low in that duel against Edgy. I would be very concerned if I was that player right now.
Yeah, the team's setting up in this little building here. Jinro finds an early pick onto the Megalodon going down to his Zen. That's huge with the copy. Edgy only gets the Lucio, probably not exactly intentional. Grabs coming out, picks coming through, and that beat is actually going to be huge here. It might not have been intentional, but it certainly doesn't matter because it's actually a lot of value. You let that when you're high noon, you can just walk out with a beat. It's almost impossible to delete that high noon, if not pretty much impossible. You're going to have to stun it or something, and they're not able to do that. Ascent do capture the second point. That being said, they don't have the most ideal time bank in the world. Varsity has held a pretty good defense so far.
Absolutely, and now we're coming up on an Echo Tube from the Meg. Of course, he's been trailing behind by one this entire time from Edgy, but it could be, you know, a huge difference maker. And CQ1 with the Shatter, not really a whole lot to block that kind of a thing. The Megalodon immediately bursts out, though.
I don't know that I've ever seen any Winston, copied or not, go down that quickly. What a big delete. We know that happens to main tanks all the time, but we just see it there happen to the DPS player. As the Shatter comes through for CQ1, it's big. They also commit the Blossom to keep cleaning up this fight. It's over. Ascent's coming back to the spawns, and it looks like they're going to get ran down as well.
And it's like, I feel like Ascent doesn't have very good, like whoever is in charge of calling, okay, no more ults, they need to fire that person. Because I don't think they've ever retained an ultimate before the next fight. It's always, okay, we have to use whatever we have to win this fight. And they win fights, but this next fight, they are going up against Trans, and they don't have their grab yet. They're poking for it. Sunday's desperate for it at this point, and they're going to build this Nano, like, incredibly fast, because that's just how Nano builds.
Yeah, Varsity has also been able, on top of that, to well stagger their opponents and just make sure that the team fights are almost split into two stages. The initial win and then sort of the stagger after has been happening for, you know, there's been sort of two strong team fights, at least we've seen that in. Now, the double bubble trying to build up. It's kind of hard to get this space here on the Winston. You get grabbed, you use your Immor though, so you're going to be good for a little bit here, but not quite. Omu Tofu got, I don't know. I don't know how he died to that Trans. I don't know how that happened. That was insane.
Okay, so when I said that you need to fire whoever says, you know, no more ults in this fight, I meant it. But also never fire whoever calls a target, because that person just got listened to. A team just killed a monkey through a Trans. The amount of coordination required for that, unreal.
Yeah, it's never easy, and they did it. They melted him even kind of quickly through the Trans, that all being said. I mean, that was a big melt there. Trans was almost over, and they got it.
Absolutely insane play. Of course, Ascent falling just short of capping third. That said, third point Rialto is kind of heresy.
Yeah.
Let's just avoid it. Never get there. It's fine as long as you get even close. You're doing pretty good for yourself. And
Yeah,
now
that
it'll
is
be
true.
time for the UNew Haven offense.
Yeah, Ascent probably isn't feeling too bad about only getting 2 ticks. Obviously, their time bank wasn't looking too good going into the third point, and when you have a not huge time bank, it's already really hard even with one. So they're probably happy with what they've gotten here. The problem is they really didn't even get around that corner, which means um it's kind of
Attackers incoming.
Varsity probably gonna have an easier time, right? Because if you look at that third point, they did okay. So the Ascent did manage to get around the corner, sort of above that first staircase on your left. So beyond my micro description of where the golden box of victory is, they have passed the first corner and not quite the second that goes into that dark, scary looking room. Meaning that Varsity could certainly get this because they don't have to cap the third point. They just have to get past arguably the easier part of it.
Yeah, and I would say that as long as they do get past that and they get a couple ultimates for that, right? As soon as you bank second, they could just bank ultimates and win a single fight. That's all you really need, as opposed to trying to push for that third point.
Yeah.
And now Haunt getting very low in the beginning. I'd be scared if I was a McCree player.
Yeah, very scary. And Anti hits on Sunday, and Islander members of Varsity are really low right now, but not low enough to go down. They all stay alive. Everybody stays alive. I saw Edgy get low and still live. So big healer plays right now. These healers are stressed, but they're keeping everybody alive. Anti hits on the CQ1. Gonna have to back up a little bit. Bazinga finds the Megalodon down, and down goes Omu Tofu. So already bad for your double bubble. You like for that monkey to stay alive to get the ult charge, but Bazinga being 73 means they definitely got the ult charge out of it. But the picks now coming through for Varsity, looking to clean up this point. Jinro goes for a last second touch. Varsity really strong out the gate here. Ascent's gonna have to do something to stop him.
And Halen's about to get this ultimate already when Hanchi's barely 50%, and that's what we see right this whole time. The amount of damage, and there it is again, Halen, an absolute beast right now. It's so difficult to handle, and he's gonna pop this high noon through that window. I have to imagine eventually. I assume. Okay, there it is. Right here we go, and that's just deadly. Easy.
Yeah, Varsity get this really strong, really good time bank right now. Ascent have a copy for Edgy that could try to stall things out. The problem here is that Varsity is going to get through probably the hardest point. If you're the defenders, holding in this house where the team has to come across the bridge and then push the car just to get a sense of cover, you can contest them in the windows all the way down. Ascent probably not feeling good that they're not going to get to do that part of the defense here. So good on Varsity for being able to pretty much push past that here. Obviously, they still have to win a team fight now.
Absolutely. In general, over onto this Lucio, I'm not sure if I like or hate or really hate that pickup. Now we see that duplicate coming out, though. There's a dupe Ryan on the front line, and that is something you never want to see.
Yeah, here they come. A dupe Ryan's in. You have a monkey in your back line. You're getting shattered and swung one. What do you do? So many tank ultimates. Edgy's getting kills, and it looks like that nade almost kept Onto alive, but not quite. Still, though, Varsity seem to have the role in this. If they can focus their targets right here, they'll clean up this fight, and that's what they needed because now Ascent actually has a pretty favorable defensive position if they can try to use it right here.
And that said, as Omu Tofu dies here, they might lose their defensive position pretty quickly. Islanders going in on this loot, or Ginger, bro, my apologies, gets the bubble to get out. Absolute mad lad AP Flower Child enabling his team right now. Sunday threw a grab into a fight when they're down by 3. Like, I got questions, man. I got questions. What part of that was winnable?
Whoa, that
the shatter part, though.
Yeah, it hits 3 people that are all at just completely different ranges of the shatter. Those bodies almost outlined the shatter hitbox, frankly. And they just sweep through.
CQ1. Fantastic play.
Yeah, they sweep through the point here. They're going to get a strong push, strong time bank. Ascent, you know, you got to be quaking a little bit in your boots. You got the first map, and now momentum is really strong in Varsity's favor, and you're going to have a hard time contesting it without any ultimates, especially on a comp like this. All they have is the beat from that questionable Lucio pick we talked about.
And there's a window. And high noon. That's how they capped the last point. I see history repeating itself here. I don't know about you, Jump Penny.
Yeah, Mutofu goes down trying to go in. The beat is able to save some time, and Halen goes down to Jay Jinro. Again, that Lucio pick shows up here because he had the ultimate. It was huge. The grab comes in, and as you called, those ultimates are just going to be too much. You know, even Varsity, they're going to get this push in, and they're going to have a really good time bank. Even before they've capped, their time bank is above what Ascent had. If they still cap here, there's still some touch coming out from Ascent that was a little unexpected. The Shatter comes through early. Monkey ult is in. There's a duplicate monkey and a dragon here to say something. CQ1 goes down to the dragon. Copy is in. It looks like Ascent could still hold this.
Ascent can absolutely still hold this. In fact, I'd even favor them in the holding it unless the Megalodon goes big here, which he's sort of doing already. The Meg, someone you really rely on to go big, and he's showing up with the goods. And in the time of crisis and need, the Megalodon is the man!
Yeah, just as you said, the Megalodon, this is a very close last fight. Still going either way. Not even last fight, but Ascent looked like they had it. So, if you're keeping track here, that fight early looked won by Varsity. Then it looked won by Ascent. And then Varsity pulled it back again with a clutch play from the Megalodon. Sunday going to get some cleanup stagger kills, meaning it's going to be so hard for Ascent to defend here. Because Varsity can literally choose where they want to defend this as if they're the defenders of the golden box. And not the attackers with the payload.
And the only ultimate online right now is Island Beat. The beat for the team that is running a brawl that understandably has a Lucio against the team that doesn't have a brawl and is running a Lucio. It is a not favorable situation here.
CQ1 barely stays alive.
So quickly.
But does. CQ1 barely stays alive, manages to, gets a swing on the Jijinro, goes down, Hantu finds a pick, there's the shatter. Big shatters from CQ1 this map. Really something I haven't talked about is that CQ1 has been hitting huge shatters, particularly on this map. That's going to get his team through the golden box.
Yeah, a swift 2-0 from UNew Varsity against Ascent here, and Jumpenny, I hate to say it, but I think our picks may have been... No, you know what? Ascent is an absolute beast of a team. I'm not going back on my picks just yet. Don't let me down.
Of course, we have, sticking with it. Ascent looking like they had some moments, and obviously they were able to take the control, but right now Varsity is looking really strong. Not even just a little bit, like really dominant, actually. If you kind of look at, obviously Ascent got some progress. It wasn't a complete roll or a full hold by any means, but Varsity certainly was the favor of the way those maps turned out by a pretty strong margin, I would say. Stick around, guys, because these two teams are still going at it, still sticking strong. We'll be right back after a short intermission.
Traveling to Volskaya is ready for battle.
All right, we are back, and again, these teams waiting to go at it. Something we've seen interestingly play out is the dynamic between Double Bubble and Brawl Suspect. We were sort of just going over that a little bit. Curious to see two teams keep playing it out. Not exactly sure who has the strong advantage here because the comps have swapped just so much. It's kind of hard to tell who could take the victory, and I think those comps are going to play a big part. Ascent was on the Double Bubble there, but they lost that map. And while a lot of the fights were close and back and forth, I got to say that actually looked pretty convincing on the side of Varsity by the end of it on both.
I'm going to slow you down right there, Jumpenny. I'm going to slow you down, and I'm going to say I think that it was UNew And Ascent let Union Haven take that one. You know, Ascent picks a map that Double Bubble is going to be stronger on, but then they kind of play it like a brawl. And now we're on Volskaya. Now they're on a Double Bubble, and Shadow is in. And I am looking for this man to be the playmaker we know he can be, because UNew Haven, they're old school. They're stuck in their ways. They're still on a brawl. It's Volskaya. It's 2021. It's time to get on a Double Bubble.
Yeah, it looks like the return to the monkey is kind of the way Ascent is taking this game. Obviously, that's what you can expect. I think overall, just generally speaking, the double bubble comp, plays a little stronger. The problem is, I think you have to think a lot more. You have to come up with more things than a brawl, which has a more straightforward fight plan. It can be really interesting to see how these two teams play, though. It looks like, again, Ascent's going to be on the double bubble, and Varsity going to be on this standard brawl they've been running with the Megalodon on that May, looking to make huge impact.
And I just don't think the Megalodon can make that kind of impact right here. If it was a brawl matchup, Megalodon's a beast, especially on the May. But in this kind of like wide open map terrain where the monkey, the wall goes off and it doesn't really matter. Of course, Omotofu gets absolutely obliterated because Halen is a beast on his own right. But the wall's gonna go up, and then if they rotate their abilities correctly, Omotofu can jump out, which they did.
Yeah, that being said, Omotofu used the jump. Yeah, use the jump to try to make space, which obviously is something you sometimes feel like you have to do. But it doesn't seem to be the right move there because, you jump in and in such a way where Omotofu completely walls you off and your team can't rotate around it. Ended up being a huge wall, or sorry, for the Megalodon, big wall, who, yeah, like you said, could easily struggle to find walls. Not right there. They saw the Winston use their jump ability and put that wall up so no heals could come through. That's a huge play for the Megalodon.
Yeah, now they're playing it correctly. Now the wall goes up, but the jump is still alive, so they get out. Shadow gets taken out on the side, but that's just unlucky.
Yeah, these walls are, again, they're not like the same effect you might see in a brawl, but you still have a Zarya and a McCree and an Ana that can all be walled off from each other. Even though, you maybe have a few more mobile tanks, you're not going to split the Reinhardt, right? Because they have a monkey. And if the monkey saves the jump, you probably won't split him. You're going to make them use resources getting around the wall, which can still be huge if those walls are put in the right location.
Absolutely. Now the May ult has come online, and that's going to be a huge difference maker here. Coming into this fight, the grab goes off first. That's absolutely the right kind of aggression you're supposed to have.
Varsity gave it the freeze late. Yeah, I think that freeze was very late.
My God,
honestly.
Someone needs to get fired. Someone who says, like, commit ults here, that person needs to get fired. UNew Haven needs to drop that person, like, immediately.
Yeah, we've seen UNew Haven seemingly overult a lot. I mean, there was the one Shatter where you could argue that it actually kind of kept the supports out, but there were other ones where I would say just a lot too many ults were thrown in, and that one's seeming to be the case. Freeze can be a hard ult to quite understand where it can be used, and sometimes it can be avoided, especially maybe the Megalodon felt like in this comp they'll struggle to find value, but it's the same thing with the wall. If you use it right, you can find it. The Megalodon certainly over-ulted there. Maybe it was called for, but Ultimate's now coming in. Nano Monkey's in. Big Shatter hits a 5-man Shatter. It hits everybody but the Mercy in the air for CQ1.
No way! Jinro gets that res off. Almost
Wow.
Oku is back on this field, and he is angry.
Yeah, the Mercy not being shattered ended up being massive. It was a 5-man, but the Mercy staying alive and the res really turned around this fight. Huge for Ascent.
Jinro just landed in the middle of UNew Haven Varsity and res the monkey, and he basically just turned around and said, I can't see you, you can't see me. And UNew Haven fell for it.
Yeah, it worked really well. Ascent do get that point, and they go in with a decent time bank here. Not ideal. 4 minutes, certainly something UNew Haven Varsity could look to hold. But a lot of ultimates are going to come online here in rotation for the double bubble on the side of Ascent. Going to look to use them here, Suspect. And only actually just as many ultimates on the enemy team. This could still go either way. I'd say the defenders are favored here.
So many ultimates, and with Halen popping off like that, the defenders are always favored here. Jinro's gonna get that res. Shadow's back in this world, and there's that dupe on the Rhine. Dupe Rhine, I would almost say is mildly better than the dupe monkey, but not when Islander's popping off like that.
They sent CQ1 up on a wall to clear out the high ground and actually takes out Omotofu, splits the enemy team, and frankly, I don't think there's any way Ascent can capture this now.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen here, and I would say fantastic control in this fight from UNew Haven, where they did not use any ultimates. Fantastic.
Yeah, UNew. Yeah, really good job. They saved their ultimates they're gonna go into the next fight with a lot. The problem is, can they win this fight without over-ulting? If it turns into a last fight situation, that's fine, but you would like to come out of this fight with a few more ultimates, especially the defenders here trying to hold and keep the second point from being captured.
I think if UNew comes out with less than 3 ultimates, I'm gonna be mad.
And there's 4 already committed. Obviously, there's a certain...
4? How many? That's so crazy.
Oh, yeah. At first it seems... to give a little justification, there's obviously the thought that, okay, well, if we don't use our ultimates and then we lose, it's just over. But I think the way these grabs are hitting, it's really surprising to see the amount of ultimates Varsity is committing to them once they've already hit huge grabs.
Okay, so CQ1 gets caught out of position. You have to beat him to stay alive. I get it. So you hit a huge grab, you window said grab, everything in that grab should die. But no, we're gonna throw a May ult in there too.
Yeah,
May ult
Varsity...
and grab, it's like one of those things that you can win a fight on its own. Why are you packing them on top of each other? Shadow pops off Sunday in the face though, that's not gonna go well.
And now Ascent comes back with the ultimate advantage. The Shatter hits though, and on top of that, a High Noon coming through from Halen though isn't going to find anything. Ascent have 3 picks right now. Now they're rolling into the point. I don't know if, even Varsity is going to have a really good touch here. They can get the ball to stall, but that might not be enough for them right now.
Omotofu crucially has this primal, and there is in fact a ledge that people can get pooped off of. So if I'm a monkey player right now, it is Danger City from the other team. Edgy popping off right now too.
Edgy is huge right now. The Megalodon down. We have G-Cons on the high ground pumping out healing though. Varsity is holding on to this somewhat. They have enough players here. If they can find a pick, that would be huge. And Mazinga goes down right as I say that. They get the main support. Both supports are down. Varsity has an actual legitimate shot here because they've cleared out the healers now. And down goes Edgy. Varsity is actually going to probably hold this. Shadow's popping. He doesn't want it to be. But Varsity have the spawns now. Wow, that was such a long and drawn out fight. That being said, Ascent do get 2 ticks, but Varsity hold them. And on a map like Volskaya, you sort of expect to cap. There aren't any ultimates really online for Ascent right now. They're going to get Nano Monkey to really have a shot at this even.
I think they're going to get Nano Monkey though. They're already 84 to it, and the fight hasn't even broken out. Sunday has mines, and there's a double support out for Varsity, but Varsity's on this weird comp right now. It's going to be really hard for them to get the kind of value they need. They have to full send onto AP Flower Child, but the break from Jinro is going to really put a craw in their plan. I think it's a great pick.
Like you said,
the duplicate. Edgy's got the duplicate.
That dupe is huge coming in here and on the monkey. He gets the nano. Actually, Omotofu does. They're both in. Both monkeys. They get Halen, but the duplicate goes down early. Gets a little bit of value. There's the beat on the side of Varsity. They have the ultimates committed into this fight now. They've used everything they have. I think the mines might have gotten canceled or cleared so quickly that I didn't see them, but Ascent has a pick. And one down as well, though. The side of Varsity, they're getting picks. The healers going down like this is huge. There goes Varsity. They're going to stop the second cap.
So far, but Omotofu is dedicated. He is not going anywhere. There's a Primal Raging Monkey. He is going to finally go down, though.
Yeah, he wanted it, and even with those boops, it can be scary that he would push the enemy off. So close there for Ascent. That's huge for Varsity, though.
Fantastic beat from Varsity, and Islander, really showing up for what feels like the 1000th time for this team. They're really relying on Islander's backbone to Halen and Megalodon's fists, and it is completely working right now.
Yeah, this is really big for them. Varsity getting that hold on a map like Volskaya can be huge, where they only have to cap 2 now to take the series. It would be for Varsity if they could do this here. So they're going to be looking probably to some kind of ultimate combo that can just win you fights straight up. Probably a Grab Dragon, or expect something of the sort. An ult combo that's going to be really hard to play against. So far, they could have a Grab Freeze setup, that kind of thing. These ultimates that they have been, certainly overcommitting. It could be huge on a map like Volskaya, where you sort of have to overcommit ults sometimes to even get through the point.
Maybe on offense, but on defense, less so. I would still say that's a fault in the Varsity defense, but I like this defense coming out as we see already. The Shadow Ash and the Edgy Echo. That's going to be a lot of angles you have to worry about, especially for this Brawl comp, and I think the #1 way that a Brawl comp falls apart is with damage that comes in from more than 90 angles, 90-degree angles. So if you have more than a 90-degree angle of damage, if you have that 180, that 3-point, that 4-point, if you gave it a 360 damage, the Brawl is going to fall apart. Brawl only has like one direction that it can put damage out in, so this approach has to be flawless. The speed timings, AP Flower Child should play respawn time, or else I think Ascent has a really good shot at holding this.
Megalodon goes aggressive, has to use the freeze early. They get the Immor out on top of it. Omutofu's low and he goes down, frozen in the air during his jump. That's the worst place you can be when you can't change your hitbox now. Gets res though. Halen finds a pick. That res is really huge. These reses on Omutofu are coming up in the middle of Varsity, who do find him back down now. Varsity really strong here. Shadow has a pick though. It's not going to be easy for them. Shadow with yet another pick. Shadow has been popping off in all of these fights despite the end result, and that's huge here for Ascent.
Shadow go big?
Oh! Big plays though. We still have picks coming through. Varsity could still win this, but not with Shadow alive like that. Shadow goes big.
Shadow go big! I know my job here is to be a little bit big brain, but I can't say more than Shadow go big.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't blame you.
I said it going into this match. I am looking for Shadow to absolutely put a sense on the backpack right now, and it looks like it. This man has just popped off. He walks out with a 4K from that fight alone after Omutofu dies twice early.
And like you said, there's the Ash on the sort of off angle, able to catch the Brawl off. Maybe they didn't have as many points as they would like, but even after their team went down, that Ash on the high ground wasn't dealt with. Omutofu finds the Megalodon early, and that's huge for the defenders now. Looks like Varsity is going to have to just regroup. There's really not anything you can do about this. Really hard. They try to take this right room and get a pick taken from them. That right room would have been huge. You know, you kind of LOS a lot of the damage this Brawl can take. They now drop. Just trying to get some damage in, I think. And honestly, they're going to get 5v6 right now.
If you're running the Brawl here, you need to run it into the angle that the off angle, like you have to run it into the Ash. You can't run away from it because the Ash is just going to get more time to poke you apart. They're playing it all wrong. And as for the big freeze,
just AP Flower Child just barely with that wall freeze. Shadow still has a chance here to pull it back yet again. There goes the Bob one to the point. Not quite contesting, but certainly making the enemy team's job way more difficult. As down they start to go, but that's a huge two-man High Noon. Maybe not huge enough still. They're looking for Omutofu, and it is Bazinga, as I believe one of the sole members left. No, there's... Yeah, Bazinga.
Halen 4K.
The point is mine.
Yeah, Halen. Huge. Now Bazinga is the last remaining member for Ascent to try to defend this, and Ascent has the point here.
Bazinga.
The G-Cons?
Support him.
AP Flower Child is back. I'd struggle to say that this could be enough for Ascent, but anything is possible. Now the Shatter hits 2 from CQ1, and they luckily don't have to commit that beat. Islanders saving that beat is huge there from Varsity, especially with how we've seen them use these ults in the past.
That's just rude at that point. Bazinga frags out G-Cons and then sends them back to spawn like a yep, I'm still better. I'm built different. Let's go. Then Shadow 45% to this next Bob, and that's one of those ultimates, you know, we've always been able to talk about. Bob is a crazy fast build time. You just get one every fight, and it's so hard to compete against the 7th man, Robert himself.
Robert's huge, and there's not much you can do, but there, Varsity are able to overwhelm, but again, save the beat. That's going to be huge. They come in with a lot of ultimates now, the beat opening up early. Looking for a grab, see what they can find. Nothing doing so far. The High Noon comes out, and Shadow finds that early pick that Shadow has been doing all day long. The High Noon and Varsity have committed every ult, but they're dead. This is really bad for Varsity. They have committed so much, but they're dying on the point. That's huge for Ascent here.
Fire your winnable Slayer. Whoever just said it, fire him. Fire him and get someone else. That is not something you want to really walk into if you're UNew Haven. You're down 3-4 picks and you use 3-4 ultimates to try and make it up. Just come into the next fight with it. As Shadow's coming up onto a Bob here, and it's not looking pretty. If they cycle ults now accordingly, this is the hellhole that is 2 CP and everyone rages about. Like, Overwatch 2 gets this out of here, but you still have to play it with some brain for a little while longer in this tournament.
Yeah, like you said, so many ultimates committing. It really did seem like a winnable was called because they were down and had yet other than the beat. It seems like somebody really wanted to commit there, or everybody did. The anti hit's huge on the Varsity right now, and Sunday is completely caught out. And Megalodon does find a pick, but CQ1's in a bubble, and he's dead as well. Varsity is sent reeling, and they didn't even manage to get any ultimates out that fight, really, from the side of Ascent. And that's what they would have liked to do in that dry fight, is actually force out some ultimates. I think maybe Nano came out Although, that being said, Varsity has some ults on their side, possibly soon.
They forced out the nano, but they built the primal. So really, like,
Right.
you didn't gain anything. Like, you didn't.
Yeah.
And this has just been the story of who can frag harder. Does Halen get a 4K or does Shadow get a 4K? That's all I'm seeing right now. Everyone else is just kind of filler. Like, oh, what did you play again? Oh, Halen. Yeah. Halen, time to pop up.
Omu Tofu in the back on the monkey. He's angry, and Aelin is going to give him a little juke, though, to stay alive. Meanwhile, the Megalodon goes down as everybody is sort of turned on this monkey as much as they can be. Immortality comes out actually from Ascent on the enemy team. Mirror coming through is going to help Shadow kill the Islander there. That Mirror coming through late in the fight, going to help the cleanup now. Varsity finally coming back with the ultimates they need to try to turn this in their favor.
It's actually edgy with a clutch play to duplicate that Baptiste and throw that immortality field that sustains Tofu in the backline and then builds a window for Shadow to just frag through. And honestly, you can't ask for much more for an Ashe to be damage boosted and window just to like frag out. Like, that's monster. That is a monstrous amount of support that just went into Shadow and Tofu. Great play for Envy to sustain the team.
Grav coming out early. They get antied and the beat comes out while the ante is on everybody. That beat really hardly did anything because everybody was antied. That's a huge play from Bazinga. And, you know, it's hard to tell when everyone's purpled around you, but maybe you could say a questionable call from Lucio to use that beat when everybody was antied. But they do have a lot of ults coming into this fight, obviously trying to counter the Grav with that beat. So, not able to do it. However, they have a lot of ults coming into one last fight here.
They have grabbed Dragon, right? So theoretically, it shouldn't be losable. That said, you know, that Nano into Monkey ult, if they just get their ults off first, then this can be deadly. And there's what I'm talking about. There's a one-man grab. How is that justifiable? The Dragons doesn't even commit to the grab because screw that. But now there's a Nano Monkey in your backline who's got Primal. He's gonna rotate into it.
Yeah, maybe trying to isolate the monkey, but he just lives in the grab with Nano, comes into your backline for free, and he kills them. Halen goes down, Shadow finds a pick, and Ascent have evened this series up. It would seem we are going to a map 5. We are 2-2 right now.
On a 2K at the end, Shadow 3K in the beginning. I don't know what more he can ask for here. As Ascent is looking to take this series back 2-2 now.
Huge map for Ascent, where it seemed like Varsity sort of had the advantage going into the attacking round. Ascent held very well, neither team capturing that second point fully. Stick around, everybody, because this is as close as it gets, and we will be right back after a short intermission.
Welcome to Ready for Battle. Ready for Battle. Ready for battle.
All right, going into our map 5 between these two teams. They've kept it close. We're going to control, and what's been interesting is we saw Varsity. It seems like they've had some advantages at some point. The ultimates, they're coming out a bit too strong and heavy. It seems like someone's calling these fights to be winnable or calling too many ultimates because, you know, committing one really surprised me. We saw this on Kings Row and a lot of the maps here, is that they use Grav, Freeze, and Window. Just so many ultimates suspect. How do you think they can try to fix this?
I think I think it's really hard to fix anything like that in a playoff, in a live game. But just beyond that, it's going to be difficult for. If you were going to do it, you would have to reassign whoever your caller is. Um, but for the meantime, like you risk, I guess you just have to full commit and hope your
Ready for
hope your ults generate fast enough at the rate that you're throwing them away.
welcome to Oasis.
Yeah, and of course we're coming in on our third map. It is another 2CP map, which is absolutely favored for Ascent, who just, they won their first 2CP map. 2CP being one of those map variant types that you can really run like a lot of double bubble and force the space. That said, Oasis is well known for its brawl. What is your stance on that, Jump Penny?
Ready for
Jump Penny?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, no, Oasis has a very strong brawl. And curious to see how these teams sort of come out and deal with that because uh it seemed that okay, so you would want to say that Varsity has had the stronger brawl, but maybe that's sort of biased by the fact that Ascent really isn't even playing brawl on a lot of these maps, right? The biggest thing is this ultimate overcommitting we've seen out of the side of Varsity, and I think if Ascent can avoid doing that, I think Ascent actually has a favorable matchup right now because I'm just not sure how Varsity is going to fix this issue in such a short amount of time because it seems like they're doing it on almost every time they have their ultimates. Just almost all of them are being committed.
Yeah, of course, now we have the walkout, though, for this map in particular, and we know this one is a brawl favored map, so whether you overalt or not, you have, the brain theory for this map that's just going to be better than this double bubble pick, which I think I might hate, despite the early pick from Edgy. Edgy's big, Edgy's good at the video game, he pops off, that's great, but you're still, like, fighting an uphill battle for no particular reason in my book, as Omotofu's staring in the face of a Halen Reaper, and it didn't go well when he was on Reinhardt, and now he's trying to make it go well on Monkey.
Yeah, I think Omotofu, I think the idea for Ascent is, they seem to like this. I feel like they've played it in scrims and maybe they feel comfortable. You're right. It would stand to reason that the brawl is a lot stronger at holding this point, but Ascent is playing it very well. The thing is that Ascent seems to think that, even if they have the disadvantage, if they know what they're doing, they can take their opponent down.
Yeah, and it proves to be true despite Halen popping off. I think Shadow just pops off harder. That's such a quick build on that high noon. It's not the most impactful ultimate in the game, but for some McCree players, they get it every 2 seconds, and it becomes an impactful ultimate. Of course, Edgy with a legitimately impactful ultimate coming online, though, and that's that duplication form. It'll be interesting to see as Sunday's now split off the Zarya onto the D.Va. More mobility, a little harder to get dove, and better escapability. Edgy, it's that duplication.
Yeah, Edgy copying that D.Va, it's a big duplicate. We've seen, especially in Overwatch League, that D.Va is a very popular copy, and there are a lot of reasons why. Edgy going on this D.Va, making a little bit of space, they find some picks for Ascent. I think Ascent feels very strongly that this Echo is just so strong that even if they're playing on a brawl map, they can run double bubble because it enables their Echo so strong.
Absolutely, and Edgy just showing up in that kill feed. What a beast. What an absolute monster. Now they're coming into this with only Nano, but you know what? I've actually got a really good feeling that Omotofu with this Nano can make the space required to build the rest of the ultimates. As AP Flower Child will probably get this grab in the mid fight. Halen has to go big with this Reaper ult. No stuns on the other side except for Shadow to really shut him down. I like this pathing for the high ground. You have to take it as a brawl. Big Shadow on a Shadow. No follow-up.
Early Nano Monkey comes out from Omotofu. They get CQ1 going down to Bazinga. Both tanks are down, and Edgy finds some picks the kill feed, taking as much time as it can to update because that was a lot all at once. Edgy has a 3K, Sunday has a bomb, but that bomb is frankly committed at a weird time. I almost think Sunday thought it was last fight, maybe.
Well, Sunday just made it last fight with the stagger. I'll give him that.
That's true.
That's a misplay. I would like to give all the benefit of the doubt in the world's teams, but that was a misplay. Great beat from Islander coming back into this. There's that Blossom we highlighted. It goes big, gets another one, but this is Killer Bee killed at this point. And Edgy says, yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah, Ascent look hot right now. They have a 99-0 on their side on maybe an unfavorable comp, you might argue. That being said, they're playing it to perfection. I think, again, it's one of those comps that when you're playing it right, even on Brawl favored maps, it could be good. You know, we see at the highest level that map of Oasis obviously does usually go towards Brawl, but we do see Monkey occasionally being pulled out. Even when there aren't like hero bans as we currently see. This map, however, strongly favors the dive, meaning Varsity are gonna have to switch on to it. And if Varsity does good on the dive, it would kind of be interesting because the next map is one where you can certainly play dive. Especially if you can play dive on that last map, yeah.
Speaking of Overwatch League, I see a Moira. I see the rush comp from Overwatch League in my game from the side of UNew Haven Varsity, and I think I might hate it. But we'll see how this plays out. Shadow go big is my prediction. As it looks like they do favor over onto the Brawl. I don't know why they're on a Moira over the Baptiste, but it's playable, so I guess they're going to do it.
Yeah, this is interesting. It's like the Overwatch rush comp, but without the Winston because, you know, Ryan isn't banned here. It makes sense, but, you know, Moira, despite the buffs, has been a character that has a hard time finding their way in here. Edgy gets killed and then res back up. Sunday finds a huge pick on a day Jinro. And for the most part, Varsity is doing their job with this Moira. They're going in relatively quick and just forcing onto a target, getting the kill. It's what you have to do if you're playing the Moira, especially if you're playing into a dive on what is usually a more dive-centric map.
So I will say, and here's the point where Moira does get, you know, okay, here's 1+ for the Moira board, where it's a lot harder to dive on Moira. So if J-Cons is thinking like, okay, I'm on Baptiste and I'm constantly dead, I'm playing respawn timer, I'm going to give myself an escape tool. That's cool, but also position better because you literally have a 30-second cooldown for, no, I don't die this time. Like, the Immortality field is still such a strong ultimate, and to sacrifice, like, or not even ultimate, ability. It's an ability. Hailing goes big.
Oh, that's huge. Picks are coming through for both teams. Hailing gets Edgy to sort of turn it, but the res coming through is going to be massive. Ascent has this res. They have the push coming in. Jinro has been here on these reses all day long. Jinro's been on a couple different heroes, but the Mercy has seen reses. Just a lot of them. Plentiful. You might say. Ascent are going to cap this back after a strong first cap for Varsity. Varsity feeling better since they just got 99 0'd, but now that they've given the point up, they have yet to take a point back on Oasis. Let's see if they can figure that out.
Absolutely, and Shadow just goes big in that fight. Now they have the Nano Monkey. Nano Monkey should just be able to shred the backline. Not a lot of bad backline to shred, though, with this Moira duplication. The dupe comes out onto the D.Va. A great dupe. There's the Coalescence to sustain people in a high noon. The Shatter's big, lays out the tanks.
His tanks are on their backs. Back up by now. The Monkey's in. Mutovu gets melted out of his ultimate. Edgy. Not gonna have a duplicate. I think that got used. It's gone now. Edgy finds CQ1. Nerf this. Sunday says hitting the skybox before falling back down. That was a massive brain bomb because it looked like it was gonna go onto the high ground, but because it hit the skybox, it dropped straight down onto what seems like 2 targets. Huge bomb from Sunday. That seemed like really 5-head. Maybe it was unintentional, but it seemed huge.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if they can take this back now. At this point, with that beat to sustain them, it's going to be an uphill battle for Ascent to really be able to take this point back. They may just have to bank ults and wait for the 99 section.
Yeah, they have it. Varsity does. They have the point. They have the point control, and meaning that the fact that they're on the Brawl is going to make it even harder for Ascent to even get in the first place. They have to find an ultimate to break through, probably. Omutover's taking space, but Halen is in there with that ultimate. Finds Bazinga, finds AP Flower Child, finds Shadow, and obviously by the time you get to 4K, it's over by now.
The Megalodon is just an absolute beast. He's shown that he can do it on the Echo from time to time. We know he's made to be reliable, and now he's showing us a Reaper that is absolutely dominant. Omatofu makes the switch over to the ball, probably just looking to live a little bit longer, but not going to be able to hold space as long either. He gets the touch, but dies. And there's
the ball just trying so desperately to touch. You switch off to the ball. They don't get it. And that's huge for Varsity. This is kind of weird, right? Like, am I confused, or did the dive team just win the Brawl map and the Brawl team just won the dive map? This is a little bit out of whack, but the teams are finding comfort on these maps.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see if things can go back to normal for this final map in the final point in this final map of this one of our final games of the tournament. It's been a really whacked out Oasis, but I am interested to see, and it's coming down to it again. And I gotta say, this star potential that I'm seeing in Shadow is rivaling Halen and the Meg perfectly. This is exactly the kind of thing that that Ascent's needed.
Yeah, this has been huge. Varsity obviously getting that map. They feel the momentum right now. Each team is on their comfort pick because you can really play either comp on this map. We see both pretty commonly. Sunday, now on the high ground, going to get dove on. Maybe the brawl a bit more common, especially at this level. Monkey gets in on CQ1, bubbles, and Edgy finishes off the kill with the help of some supports. CQ1 is down, and this is scary because when Ascent had the point first, they 99-0'd Varsity, who weren't able to get it back, and obviously Varsity kind of staggering right now. They do get the pick on Omu Tofu, but they're not quite staggering because they are contesting the point for just a little bit longer before it seems like Ascent's going to capture this one in a very quick one team fight with CQ1 going down so early.
And Shadow with a 3K at the end of that fight, Edgy's already got a duplicate. That is like a massive build. CQ1 16% to a shatter. Edgy 93% to a duplication. He's going to have a dupe shatter. Oh, now CQ1 moves over to the monkey, but I was going to say he's going to have a dupe shatter before CQ1 has a normal shatter.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be massive. That shatter obviously looking to come in huge. The dupe now in on the monkey, pushing some people off the map. I think they sort of started to run there on their own, but weird that the kill feed didn't give credit because I do believe Omu Tofu got at least some of those push-off kills. But maybe they were all just running off the map on their own. They certainly seemed like they knew the fight was lost.
And it's crazy because that fight was lost in a transition stage. Like, the fight's not supposed to be lost until you're actually at least close to or on the point or high ground. But they lost that in a transition area. Like, they're just absolutely getting poked out and defeated, it seems like. A great Bob.
Great Bob, smart play from Ascent. They caught them in the rotation now. Varsity is a little closer to the point. The Bob is in, it catches CQ1, and this is the same thing where Ascent had the point first, and they did not give it up. They have ultimates online, and Tofu goes down. I think he actually tried to ult right at the end. He actually goes down, maybe in his ultimate. He goes down, so he doesn't have that next fight, but neither does CQ1. This is going to be hard for Varsity to pick this up because there are a lot of ultimates for both teams, but I got to say the ultimates on the side of Ascent are looking just a little stronger. And
yeah, and everything, but oh my god, dude. Islander needs to go big here, but he's never going to get the opportunity if CQ1 can't make it through the opening phase of a fight. It's just a repeat of a bad scenario happening over and over again. Now, there's a Nano Monkey at 89%. They're not going to get another fight. If they stagger at Sunday here, which they do, 92%, CQ1's going to go for the touch. He might get it, he might not, it might not matter. It's 96-0 right now on the last point of Oasis, and Ascent is looking to take this series convincingly.
And he comes, CQ1 gets the touch, but it's not going to be enough. Ascent, they have won this set over Varsity. At the end, the caster predictions were correct, but boy, suspect, we sure didn't make it out by the skin of our teeth.
Yo, I was sweating a little on Rails, I'm going to be completely honest, but I had total faith that as soon as Shadow came in here, it was going to be GG's, because Shadow just pops off, takes out 3 a fight, absolute mad lad, beast in the kill feed. Well played by Ascent.
Yeah, and everybody obviously follow us, stick around, be entered in that giveaway we mentioned earlier at 500 followers. That's coming up very soon. So make sure you follow, and if you have that free sub or would like to sub to the channel, it always helps out. We appreciate that so much, and we appreciate you guys being here so much. Ascent looking really strong there at the end going into these playoffs now. Varsity, they're still in the playoffs, I believe. They still have their spot, but it's not going to be as easy for them now, I believe.
Yeah, now UNew Varsity is going to have a much longer trip up the flagpole. That said, we are going to take a quick to longer break in between these two games. But don't go anywhere. Hit that follow if you are going to go somewhere, so you can come right back for our Potatoes versus UAH Chargers Blue. Yeah, which is going to be a fantastic game. So don't go too far. And if you do go too far, hit that follow because it is not one I would want to miss.
welcome back to the stream, one and all. We just saw a fantastic match earlier. I do believe it was UNew Haven Varsity going up against Ascent. That was a 5-map thriller going the distance on that one. And we're not done yet today, Jumpenny, because I've got another match today. We have got Potaters going up against UAH Charger Blue today.
Yeah, that was a crazy 5-map series we just got done with. One that went back and forth. The momentum was swinging. It was intense and hard to keep up with at points. So I'm excited to see what we see from this game. A must-win game for one of the teams. Potaters have to win this to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, certainly. And saying that, we should take a quick look at the standings, of course, because Potaters down in that number 9 spot today is a must-win game for them if they want to be in the playoff picture, if they want to qualify for that gauntlet section of our playoff bracket. On the other end of things, of course, UAH Charger Blue doing pretty well for themselves, up at 5-3, of course, and they want to tack on another win to that that record because, of course, every seeding spot matters in these playoffs, Jumpenny.
Yeah, that game we just saw between two teams that are right beside each other on the standings. So very exciting to see a team, two teams that are obviously a bit more split out from each other. This could be a thriller of a match if Potaters can pull out something that maybe we haven't seen from them before. Excited to see what Potaters has in plan to keep their playoff hopes alive, Octave.
Certainly. And next up, of course, next order of business, look at the fixtures real quick. Of course, UNew Haven Varsity and versus Ascent, we did, of course, just see that. And we are going to see Potaters versus UAH Charger Blue today. And, of course, tomorrow, we are going to be seeing 413 Nightshade go up against Bad at Overwatch. And 413 Riot, they will go up against WVU Mountaineers. So, definitely a couple exciting days of Overwatch today and tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss out on those. And of course, next order of business, let's take a quick look at the Rogue Energy Power Rankings. And here we are, the Rogue Energy Power Rankings. Of course, you can use code 413 Esports for 10% off your purchase at Rogue Energy, so make sure you go do that. Of course, the two teams that we are looking at today, Potaters, of course, last week, having a little bit of trouble against 413 Riot, who took them down in a 3-0, so of course Riot able to move up to that C spot. And of course, UAH Charger Blue doing pretty well for themselves, taking down the reigning 413 Havoc in an absolute thriller. So they are, of course, up in that A tier spot, Jumpenny.
Yeah, really great game. UAH took a great game off of us. They played great, and they deserve this A tier. Havoc falling below Mountaineers as a result of that game. And the big thing here before our game today, before we go into our pre-match interview, is that the Potaters and UAH Charger Blue are obviously strongly separated in these power rankings. It's undeniable. It's right there in front of your eyes. Potaters have an upset to look for to try to keep themselves in the playoffs. They got to find it here. And we are just about to go into our pre-match interview with RKO Avi of UAH Charger Blue.
Yeah, absolutely true. We got our pre-match interviews coming up very shortly, of course. We do have RKO from the side of UAH Charger Blue who is going to come in. We also, later on, we're going to have a Ragu Legend from the side of Potaters to come in and, of course, give his opinions there, Jumpenny.
Yeah, so very shortly, I believe I can bring RKO Avi in here right now. I think we can have that interview happen in just a moment, right? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up.
All right.
RKO Avi, welcome. Very excited to have you here. Very excited to see your team play. Obviously, I'm a bit humbled right now, talking to you right after you beat my team, man. I don't feel great, but I won't ask you for emotional support. I'm only going to ask you, how do you feel going into this game? Obviously, Potaters are a bit of an underdog here. So what are you guys going to do to try to stay on top?
I think we're just going to have fun with it, really. I mean, I'm sure you said it before, whether we win or lose, we're 5th place going into playoffs. So I think we're just going to make sure we have fun, and that's really about it.
Really good to see. You guys want to have a fun time. You know, obviously, you see, this game doesn't strongly affect your rankings, if at all, even. And I think that's good. I think having fun is big, and I think that's going to be huge for you guys. I think, I don't know, just like going into the playoffs, having a little, I don't want to call it a game off because, you know, obviously it's still effort, it's still time going in, but I think it's big for a team to be able to just enjoy the video game sometimes. In certain situations, so that I think that can be huge for you guys. But obviously, you know, I just want to say I think Potaters could have something. They got to do something. Obviously, it would be unexpected. Who do you think on their team you guys are going to have to look out for the most? Like, if anyone could sort of carry this for your team, and I think you might know what I'm talking about. There's one person in particular on Potaters. It's pretty strong. I think we talk about him a lot. Who do you think you would look out for, though? Just, you know, genuinely, without my leading question telling you to pick.
I honestly haven't watched too much of the Potaters games, unfortunately. But from what I have seen, honestly, I've seen Aragu Legend pop off quite a bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's huge player. He's the type of person you have to look out for. He's like in the kill feed all the time. And do you have any words for Aragu Legend, because he's actually our next up interview right when after we let you get back with your team?
I'd love to see them make it to playoffs. I think that'd be awesome, but I don't think they will. It's just
Dang.
plain and simple.
Some disappointing words. He has hope, but alas, he doesn't think it'll come to fruition. Good luck. Have a good game. I'm gonna send you back with your team so you guys can get ready to go. Hopefully, have some fun.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you, Octave. We're gonna be shortly moving on to our interview with Ragu Legend of Potaters. The raid boss himself is about to come in the stream. I'm very excited.
Yeah, the raid boss himself, the one we've been singing the praises of this entire tournament so far. And we should be able to get him in here relatively shortly. I think we can get him in here right about now. There he is, Aragu Legend, the absolute raid boss of this Potato squad. How are you feeling today?
Not great, but yeah, I'll be fine. I got my second vax yesterday, and you know, it's not treating me too well, but I'm gonna try my best today.
Good. Pushing through the pain. You gotta respect that, of course. I just got my vaccination actually last week, I think it was. So yeah, no, definitely not a fun time in those days after that, of course. That being said, let's get right into these questions here, of course. So throughout this tournament, you guys have been pretty steadily improving. So you know, what's the game plan to continue this pattern and, you know, possibly punch your ticket to the playoffs today?
Well, you know, we're just gonna keep doing what we've been doing since the beginning, trying our best, and thinking about it in a positive mindset, trying to improve no matter what. Think about it as if maybe even if we're losing, what can we do better? That's the goal, because we know that we have some weak links in our team, and we want to be able to build up from this experience in this league, and so it's vital that we keep a positive mindset and keep pushing forward.
You gotta love a good mindset, of course. So, tonight you guys are up against UAH Charger Blue, and those guys, they just took down 413 Havoc in an absolute thriller. So, have you guys done any special sort of research or preparation for your opponents today?
I haven't. I know one of my teammates has. I know my teammate has looked at their VODs and stuff, but I haven't done any preparation myself. But
Alright, so,
yeah,
a little bit of preparation then, you could say.
yeah, just a little.
Yeah, so, of course, plenty of playoff implications heading into this match today. Of course, you guys, with the possibility to punch your ticket to the playoffs today. So, what members of your team do you think we can look for to, you know, clutch up today?
Well, I feel like if we get some Widow maps, Weak Dumpling has definitely the ability to absolutely pop off. I think he gives himself way less credit than he deserves. He's a really good Widowmaker. So if we get any Widow maps, that for sure. I also think Con Knight rather, is gonna be Reinhardt is gonna be star player, for sure.
Guys, you hear that? We got Con Knight's real name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shocking.
Yeah, of course.
Force of habit.
who would have guessed?
Yeah, of
Who would've
course.
ever
Yeah,
guessed?
who would have thought? Yeah. Yeah. Last but not least, of course, do you have any words to say to your opponents today before we start the match?
Good luck.
All
That's
right, short and simple, 2 words. You'll
Yeah.
love to hear it, of course. That being said, thank you very much, Aragu Legend, for coming in here to give your opinions and thoughts about the match you're about to go into. So,
Thanks
that
for
being said,
having
I'll send you back to your team, and good luck. Have fun
Appreciate
today.
All right. See ya.
All right, and with that being done, I think we are just about ready to do some caster predictions here, Jumpetty. So
Yep.
I think I want to start with you first here. I want to kind of pick your brain. Who do you think is going to win this match today?
Well, first off, I believe we just did an all right that was in sync. That was pretty cool. I don't know if mine was heard, but I was saying all right at the same time as you there. I don't know if it came through my mic, but glad to see that. Clearly already prepared for the stream. I already gave away my prediction. I gotta say, it actually turns out that before the last map, I had my matches confused, and I had already predicted UAH Charger Blue to win in a game that they weren't even in. So if that's the case, I'm gonna have to go with UAH Charger Blue here. I think they have a really strong chance today.
Yeah, of course. Spoiling the. You gotta choose UAH Charger Blue no matter what. Yeah. Also, I don't really know who Akatave with 2 E's is, but that's fine. And I kind of got to agree with you here. I mean, like last week we just saw UAH Charger Blue. They took down, of course, your squad 4-3 Havoc, and you guys are no pushovers. So like
Oh, thank you.
yeah. So, and of course up against Potaters. I don't want to say like, fighting for that last playoff spot. Of course, a little bit of a discrepancy, I would say, in terms of the power rankings here. So I'm gonna have to go with UAH Charger Blue as well. I can't really disagree with you on this one, Jumpenny.
Yeah, it's a really strong game for them. It's one that I think most people will agree with that prediction, which is why I'm excited to see what Potaters can pull out. We are going to go into our game very shortly. I believe the teams are just about getting readied up, and we actually do not know our first map yet. That's something I'm excited to sort of pick your brain about, Octave. What we've seen from these two teams, I'm going to make a prediction based off what I think I've casted of these two teams. I think we could go to Oasis here.
Ooh, making
I think I've seen
making
some
a little bit
Oasis
of a
from-
prediction. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. So, that being said, of course, we're all ready to head into this match. But before we do that, we are going to head into a quick intermission, of course, just to, of course, get these squads set up so they can settle into this lobby, of course. So that being said, don't leave your seats because we have another exciting match of Overwatch to go today. So don't leave, and we will be right back.
All right, everybody. I believe we are back, and I believe we are about to go into the map that I predicted. A 1 in 3 chance, but that's still pretty good. You know, I mean, it's still kind of hard to predict, at least.
Yeah. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, like, you said it was gonna be a waste. You said it pretty confidently too.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm kind of impressed, Trumpet. You're able to get the map right. So.
Yeah, well, let's see if I can keep the streak alive. I'm gonna see who's picked map obviously first, but the interesting thing is that these teams are both ready, and Charger Blue obviously they have a 6-man lineup. They very rarely sub. We don't see much of a sub from Potaters often either. So I think we're gonna see a pretty consistent match. We might see a swap maybe from the side of Potaters. But what I'm expecting is that these two teams are going to go at each other pretty hard with pretty similar lineups all around. I'm curious to see what having fun means for Charger Blue. Like, what does that mean? Do they play the same comp but maybe less focused, or do they play a different comp? I don't know. I'm curious to see what UAH Charger does and what exactly they kind of mean by having fun, right? I mean, hey, I'm always having fun when I'm playing Overwatch. So, what do they mean by that, right? Because
Certainly.
don't we all just have fun when we play the game?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we all definitely have fun playing Overwatch for sure.
All the
That
time.
being said, though, both these squads just about ready to head out. We are starting on Oasis. It is going to be University starting out. So, of course, we've seen a lot of teams play the Brawl on this section of Oasis. However, actually, if the last match we saw is anything to go by on Oasis, we actually saw, I think it was Ascent go for that Monkey Zarya, if I'm not mistaken, Jumpenny.
Yeah, we saw them actually go for a dive on this Oasis map, and they won it. The weird thing about it is that it kind of swapped, where the Brawl team won the dive map and the dive team won the Brawl map, and then the last map, which could really go either way, was won by Ascent's dive. This map, though, we're definitely going to see a form of Brawl, but from UAH Charger Blue, it's certainly a unique variant that I think can work. Torb is essentially a Reaper. Tracer is Tracer, and Tracer can work with Brawl in the weirdest of ways with that burst damage.
Of course, I just want to point out, oh, that's a massive anti. I want to say this Torbjorn is going to be so good at putting pressure on a Ragu Legend on that Doomfist. It's going to be hard for him to get anything done with that turret tracking him just like that. Pocket the turret kill already onto a Ragu Legend, of course.
As you said, it would happen.
Prepared. They came prepared today, and UAH Charger Blue already taking this fight rather convincingly. If someone would get on the point, that'd be cool for them, however.
It almost seems like what looks like troll picks or like intentional counters to the Doomfist. Obviously, the Torbjorn, the Tracer is a bit more subtle, not being able to quite pin that character down as you might like to as Doomfist. UAH get a really strong win with the Ragu Legend going down first, and that was a huge ante to open it up for them as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely fantastic there from Hanoi, of course. Nano's out. It's gonna hit MJ Reyes, and he's gonna swing through. Oh, and Kanoi's up the edge of the map, and the shatter's massive. Hanoi's gonna catch a sleep dart kill onto a Ragu Legend, and that's another quick fight win. I mean, I'm kind of confused. Kanai kind of just pinned off the edge of the map. Did he get booped or something?
I couldn't even see, honestly. Yeah, maybe he got booped in his pin, but he did seem to sort of lose it, go a little mad lad on us. As the Rhine, MJ Reyes is actually pushing in. He's holding the stair choke point. This is as aggressive as you can possibly get. And that's another huge ante from Hano on the side of UAH. MJ Reyes goes down for his aggressive positioning, but that's a new support player for UAH making these ante plays, but it might not be enough. They have to bring out the Molten Core right now, Octave, to try to hold this fight.
Yep, the Molten Core gonna come up from Paka, beats out from HSG. Not many members of UAH left on this objective, but Paka is trying so hard to survive. Will, however, go down to a Ragu Legend finally. Still members of UAH left on this objective. They're gonna try to stall it out as long as possible, but it looks like it might just be inevitable at this point. The Potaters going to capture this objective, but the fight's not over yet. MJ Reyes catches 2. He's got the Nano from Hanoi. He's got 3 under his belt right now. A Ragu Legend probably soon to follow, which he will. MJ Reyes swinging through the entire team, able to catch 4 there. That's another fight win for UAH Charger Blue, and they're gonna cap the point just as fast as it was ripped out of their hands.
Barely even giving up any percentage. I gotta say, MJ Reyes, I just understood what he's called that. Oh, the remake kill. The poor Lucio.
No. Oh, HSG was sleeping. That's so dirty.
MJ Reyes got booped, I think, by Doomfist maybe, to where he bunny hopped over Conk Knight's Shatter and then hit a shatter back. That's MJ for Michael Jordan. Thank you very much. And as I say that, UAH is just blowing through another fight, pushing the
They're at the
spawn
spawn doors. Oh no. Yeah, this is domination I've ever seen. It shatters out. He gets booped a couple times. Well, the shatter will not land, but looks like UAH, they're gonna try their best to stop Potaters from even getting onto the objective in the first place. Someone has to touch. 94% accrued. And no one's really on their way to the objective. A regular legend, it looks like he's going to be able to get there, which he will, but the picks are going both ways. It's Doomfist v Doomfist on point. Aka off that Torbjorn onto the Doomfist, of course. Ice Monte will get demeched. A regular legend lands the punch onto Paka as well, so Potaters trying to capture this objective back. A regular legend with another fantastic pin, or another fantastic punch, I should say. The Nano from Hanoi will actually land onto RKO. Nothing will get done with that, however. Potaters still on this objective, finally getting the kills they need, and they're going to capture the objective once again.
Yeah, 99% for UAH. Their hubris gets the better of them. MJ Reyes was pushing in so strong, he goes down. And Emerald just got caught by Aragu. That had to be a nasty little meaty from that Doomfist shotgun.
Nice little anti-nade there just to make Potaters back off here. It looks like UAH Charger Blue, they're going to take this high ground area. RKO on the high ground, looking for a kill here, grabs out from Conquistadab. Meteor Strike as well. No one quite dead yet. No casualties thus far. Both teams just brawling on this objective, and Emerald will be the first to strike alongside Paka. Both getting kills. Emerald as well going to add on to the kill feed. 4 kills now accrued for UAH. Make that 5. Yeah, not many members left in the objective. RKO will be the recipient of another nano. Yeah, they're going to rush towards the spawn. No one else can be able to touch. UAH Charger Blue takes point number 1.
Yeah, and 55% from the side of Potaters almost seemed to come more from UAH making mistakes. They go off the Torbjorn onto the Doomfist saying, you know, maybe the Torbjorn counter was working, but at a certain point, they gave up the point. And they said, you know what, we're just going to go into the Doomfist now. We're going to play straight into your comp, almost mirroring. But the big thing here, too, UAH has kept the Ana throughout, and the anti-nades have been massive. That's what you need if you're going to run Ana over maybe BAP, and they've been there all day long.
Oh, that's absolutely true. It's just forcing the positioning of Potaters so hard. Those anti-nades, it's just such a powerful ability, of course. And yeah, that 55%, UAH Charger Blue, I would say kind of maybe getting a little bit cocky. RKO actually the recipient of 2 different nanos during that point. So a little bit of an odd one there. It looks like both teams, actually, UAH Charger Blue not trying to go for the high ground. MJ Reyes is quite behind the rest of his squad. Potaters, however, going to try to take this high ground. UAH already there, however, and MJ Reyes going to try to start the process of pushing everyone down. Emerald will find a regular legend. That's your Doomfist down.
Yeah, Potaters start to go up the stairs, and they don't quite get the space. The Ryan was there. I think they thought that MJ Reyes was there and that they couldn't take it. When maybe they could have.
What?
And
that was a little bit of that was a little bit of an odd
aggressive.
pin there. Yeah, kind of
aggressive.
A little bit over aggressive. There pins right into the enemy team. He gets punished for it pretty hard. And Potater on this objective now. Bubbles out onto Con Knight. Still no one down. HSG, however, will fall to Emerald. Tires out. Catches Con Knight as well. Nano's out. RKO is the recipient once again of that nano boost. Oh my god, a regular legend gets slept by Hanoi and promptly falls off the edge of the map. That's an environmental kill with a sleep dart. You don't really see those very often.
Funny enough, we actually saw in the kill feed that the sleep dart did the final blow damage to Aragu Legend in the last round. So these sleep darts have just been finishing off Aragu one way or the other. They're finding him, and that's got to be scary now. Conk Knight.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how this.
Dart.
Interesting to see how this Ryan approaches this, knowing the enemy has a homing sleep dart. A lot of ways to take this rotation. They go underneath, trying to LOS that high ground because they know they can't take it back. Emerald has high noon, shoots, doesn't get anything, but the pin hits back and forth. Back with a double mine. That's insane, Octave.
Double mine, catches 2. Another fight win for UAH Charger Blue. And honestly, I think these nanos from Hanoi are kind of going to be a wash. I think RKO is going to get every single one of them for the time being, if we're being honest. Yeah, they're pushing up right up to spawn. MJ Reyes with no mercy, shatters out, no one caught by it, but it Zeus is down to Ice Manta. And MJ Reyes is just so aggressive, 75% accrued, but the kills are starting to come in for Potaters finally. Bomb is out from Ice Manta, just try to clear out the rest of these members. No one caught by it, but Potaters, yeah, they're gonna have to push out now. Couple casualties for UAH, and now there's finally an opening for them. Almost 90% accrued. They're pushing through. Hanoi already 75% up to that nano. RKO 80% to the beat. Tires out. MJ Reyes catches regular legend with the fire strike. Tyre still roaming around, beats out from HSG, trying to keep everyone up, but Paka's down. HSG falls to Paka. Hanoi with another nano is on to RKO once again. RKO, the recipient of all of these nanos. However, Magma Boy with 2 with the Coalescence, Kinkisada falls. Emerald is down, so is RKO. Potaters finally, with a foothold into this point, are going to finally get this objective, and they're going to start ticking some capture percentage.
UAH are certainly having fun, but they're playing great while doing it. They go down there, partially due to their having fun, probably. They're getting a little over-aggressive. They do extend that fight for a while before it does result in them losing the point. They have some ultimates coming in here, though. Not so many on the side of UAH, or on the side of Potaters, although that Doomfist ult could be huge here. High noon catches a Ragu Legend.
No more. Oh, and the Shatter! It catches the other 5. RKO with the beat. That's a double boop. That's a double boop from RKO. That's beautiful. The Shatter gonna be in vain for Con Knight. And yeah, just a celebration Shatter for MJ Reyes here. HSG is down. Hanoi with 50% of that nano, but it doesn't look like RKO is going to receive another one because no one's on the objective except for a Ragu Legend who will promptly fall. No one else within the vicinity to touch this objective. Map number 1 going the way of UAH Charger Blue.
Ragu Legend moving and grooving. Trying to make his way into this point, but the moving and grooving was RKO Avi with those nano boosts, obviously. Really getting them in. Maybe not the most valuable. MJ Reyes gets the play of a game. Cognate had a huge shatter there that got negated by RKO's beat. That was huge. Here's a big shatter from MJ. Massive as they tend to be.
Gigantic. Yeah,
MJ Reyes
that
is insane.
was pretty big. And yeah, that was a pretty distinct, a pretty dominant map number 1, if I do say so myself. Most percentage that Potaters got there was kind of based on the hubris, I guess you could say, of Charger Blue. However, map number 1 gonna go their way in a pretty convincing 2-0 as well.
Yeah, they played great. Obviously, like you said, making some mistakes that seemed to be a result of a sort of fun-having mentality, but hey, they get the map, and that's all you need at the end of the day. Hopefully, they're going to have some more strong maps. Hopefully, for Potaters, they're going to be able to take advantage of this sort of maybe lax play from UAH. Maybe they see this disrespect, and it can maybe boost Potaters a little bit. Let's see what they can try to do. See if they can pull maybe a closer game here.
Yeah, I agree. But before we can see the answer to that one, we are going to head into a quick intermission. So, that being said, don't leave, because even though map number 1 looked pretty one-sided, of course series can absolutely turn on a dime if you're not looking. So don't leave your seats, and we will be right back after that intermission.
All right, everybody, we are back, about to go into this match where apparently I am being subbed in. That's casting and playing at the same time. Very excited to do that. No, that actually won't be the case. I think I do think that.
No, definitely not the case, Jump Penny.
Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna get beat.
Unfortunately, but fortunately, we are about to head into map number 2. We are heading into hybrid, which means we are going to Numbani. Actually, we had Rad on production early who predicted that it was going to be Numbani. So just like you predicted Oasis. Of course, another fantastic prediction on Numbani. That being said, Jumpany, what sorts of things do you think we're going to see here on Numbani?
Well, Numbani opens things up a little bit. I think Charger Blue, they're pretty confident on their brawl, but I think they could even look to play a dive because that's what Numbani leans to a lot. I'm curious to see what Potaters pull out, right? Because Doomfist can play with a dive, he can play with a brawl. I expect to see some sort of maybe defensive dive comp from Potaters and a similar thing on offense involving heavily giving some resources to a Ragu Legend on the Doomfist. I think from UAH, we'll probably see something interesting. And if we saw the Torb on Oasis, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Torb here.
Yeah, honestly, I could see either of these teams actually running that Torb. I mean, it might seem like a niche pick, a sort of joke pick to play the Torbjorn, but I mean, he does legitimately have some pretty decent roles that he can fill. It's very anti-flanker, that Torb.
Yeah, that Torb is huge. He shuts down, a Doomfist. If you're running a Tracer, an Echo, a Pharah, like there's so many things that Torb can weirdly shut down, even though he's like not a meta pick. I think if you play him in the right way, you can find a lot of value, especially in this kind of tournament where teams don't quite know what to expect from each other. Like this tournament is the only example of these teams that's really out there. Obviously, some teams have done other things, but you really don't know what to expect from a lot of these teams, I think, going into these games. And yeah, I think that's kind of huge. And that's where I think picks like that can find a lot of value off their maybe shock value sometimes.
Yeah, I can't help but agree. I mean, we have seen a lot of these squads go for some pretty unique types of compositions. Of course, UAH Charger Blue absolutely being one of them. We have seen this squad go for some pretty odd picks before. And, well, that being said, we have Paka on the Bastion. So they are actually leaving the door with this pick. I don't know how that's going to work for them considering they're on attack, but Emerald already finds a Ragu Legend. First shot of the game. It's going to get rezzed up. But I mean, that's already rezzed. Now he finds him again! Emerald finds him again! Right after the res. Oh my god. Paka going to take this high ground. He's already set up. He's got 2 shields in front of him, and he's going to melt everything. Con Knight is down to Emerald as well. Emerald! He catches HSG as well. Look at all the damage. You can run, but man, you're just never gonna get away from this. I mean, how are you supposed to take the point now? You're down 3 members of your squad. And, well, Ice Manta is just gonna chill on this point nicely. Conquistador going to join him, but gets low because, I mean, that Bastion is just absolutely deadly. Conquistador down to MJ Reyes. The point still getting ticked up. Doesn't look like anyone's gonna be able to touch, which they won't. Point number 1, definitely going the way of UAH Charger Blue very decisively. And, yeah. Cart's going to start moving. Paka going to plant that Bastion, but on the cart alongside RKO. Both of them going to move throughout this street space. Emerald still looking for these picks. Hanoi 73% to that Nano. Emerald almost to the sites as well. I wonder if RKO is going to get this Nano as well. We're going to see if that's going to happen here.
Yeah, that's something I'm not entirely sure what to expect. Like, the sights coming out from Emerald. That's huge. They get the sight line.
Oh, regulation down.
Look at this flank!
Emerald!
This UAH flank! This is insane. Look at the Orisa Ana on the flank right now.
Oh my god, the sleep from Hano as well. Going to catch Magma Boy, who was trying to res. HSG down to Emerald. Oh my god, UAH is just blowing through this right now. Nano's out, RKO receives it, of course. What UAH map would it be if RKO did not receive a Nano boost? Which he will. Cart moving steadily towards that second objective as well. It doesn't look like anyone's touching this one either.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get there. It looks like RKO has this mirror online too. And the problem is if you're Potaters, you don't have any ultimates online. You're going to have to get this copy and it's going to be hard to get a lot of value with it. You know, Ice Manta might even just flux the copy.
The window! Pocket
Oh,
gets
no.
windowed. Look at the damage he's putting out. That anti-nade from HSG not going to be close to enough to stop the onslaught of damage. As Emerald, oh my god, look at the shot onto Itzus. Itzus just went up, tried to challenge Emerald,
On a
but he was
flank.
met with lead between the eyes. And
Yeah. Oh no.
the regulation
Yeah.
finds Hanoi, but it's not going to be enough because Pocket catches too. The cart's still moving very, very quick right now. Potaters got to figure something out soon. A regulation down to Emerald once again. Shields out. The cart getting dangerously close. Someone's got to touch, but no one is in the avenue to touch it. They can't. 4 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock for UAH Charger Blue on their first attack. That was lightning quick.
Yeah, that was very fast. And you know, they said they were having fun, but I mean, they're playing double shield, Widow, Bastion, man. It's certainly not fun for the enemy team. That is scary to go up against. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
No, UAH right now is, yeah, no, this is dominant. There is no mercy here whatsoever. Yeah, a little bit ugly thus far. 4 minutes, 57 seconds, especially on Numbani. That is a gargantuan time bank jump, Penny.
Yeah, that time bank's gonna be hard to beat. 4:57 is not a good time at all. I mean, it is a good time, but if you're the Potaters, it's not a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Eh.
Dude, I'm wondering, I want to see the leaderboard for fastest times on Numbani for Overwatch League. I
Yeah.
want to see, maybe during the break we can look that up, because honestly, I think 4 minutes, 57 seconds, I think that could actually be on there if this was Overwatch League jump, Penny.
Yeah, that's a really fast time. I'm actually curious as well. If just off of looking at it, this was last updated in 2019. So I mean, this is definitely not true anymore. Oh wait, but it's going by. I think this is going by how long the map took and not by the final time bank. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little hard to
I'm
find,
sure we'll
but yeah,
figure it out. I think
Yeah.
we'll figure that out during the break, of course. And,
of course.
hopefully, anyway. 'Cause
Interesting
they
comps
do
for
show
both
those
teams.
leaderboards, of course, yeah. So,
UAH.
yeah, terrific comps.
Yeah, UH is the Sombra. They get the pick on the Conk Knight early. Potaters is holding. UAH is holding really close, actually, I should say. Ragu Legend has a pick on the Sombra right now. They're playing a brawl with sort of dive double bubble DPS, whereas we had the sniper of Widow out for the side of Potaters. And now they've swapped onto a McCree Doomfist. What did we kind of expect from them?
Yeah, we have seen this comp, that sort of Winston Diva, Moira Lucio rush. We've seen this a lot in Overwatch League. It's been a lot of the meta thus far. Fight breaking out inside this very, very contained room. Ragu Legend will catch a pick on MJ Reyes, but will fall to Emerald's Pulse Bomb. Pac as well will claim HSG. But Magma Boy catches two. Hanoi Osmanta, both down to Magma Boy with a third! Emerald
no.
will fall to Magma Boy as well. Will
And on
use
the-
that bubble. RKO will fall to Con Knight. It looks like Potaters are... if they can't recontest this, Potaters are in a pretty good spot to take point number 1 here, Jump Penny.
Yeah, and they're making really good pace. RKO was sort of dancing with the main tank on the point while a pretty interesting brawl took place in that room. Paka and Emerald managed to find picks, but it wasn't enough as we saw the seemingly sort of a compositional advantage coming out there, and we saw Potaters take a really big fight on this comp and get that win there. Huge picks for them. As now Ragu Legend goes a little bit low going in here. We have the Coalescence coming out.
What a great hack. What a great hack from Paka. That's absolutely fantastic. MJ Reyes going to get healed up by this Coalescence from RKO. I will point out that normally RKO would not be on this Moira role. Normally would be on that Lucio. These two supports would normally be switching roles here, but it doesn't look like they're having much issue because Hano will catch its Zeus. And Magma Boy, Hanoi, of course, fantastic in that fight. Ragu Legend will find RKO, but is it going to be enough? Beats out, bomb is out, Ice Manta with the bomb, EMP's out, everyone's caught by it, Ice Manta with 3, Emerald tacks another one on with the Pulse Bomb. Fantastic from Paka, as well as Ice Manta to win that fight there.
Yeah, UAH used everything except for the Winston ultimate. Now on the side of Potaters, they have every ultimate. I think they gotta win this fight.
Yeah, if you don't win this fight, that's gonna look a little bit ugly. HSG falling low,
Oh,
will go down. Oh no, they just collapse right onto him. That is unfortunate. However, Potaters, they're on the cart right now, and UAH, they're not really contesting this cart. The cart's moving,
but they've
and
gotten
yeah,
all
they're
these
just
picks in the
separating
meantime.
everyone. They're separating everyone from UAH right now, and everyone falling. Con Knight is going to have to back up alongside Kinky Stab. Magmaboy going to try to speed these two out. Shatters out. Will get blocked by that bubble from MJ Reyes. Windows out from HSG. Pocket gets caught by Itzeus right in the forehead there. MJ Reyes will have to retreat here. Potaters finally getting their a nice little foothold in here on the high ground. A Ragu Legend will fall to Emerald, however.
Yeah, Ragu Legend goes down. Emerald, big pick. And the point is what Potaters, they're trying to get, and it's interesting how UAH have just kind of been kiting and making sort of the backline stray away from their tanks.
Nice montage.
Bait
Ethan
the
keeps that grab. That is absolutely massive. There's the Deadeye as well from Itzeus. But the cart's moving. No one is actually stepping on it right now, which they eventually will. Pocket catches Itzeus with that Doom Fist punch. The nice Manta falls. MJ Reyes falls. And Potaters, they're in a good spot to take this objective right now.
Yeah, they really are.
Battling out
Ragu
this
Legend
point,
with
a
another
Ragu Legend gets Paka as well, beats out from Hanoi. Going to try to keep everyone from UAH up, but there's only 3 members left. A Ragu Legend causing havoc right now. Magmaboy will fall to Emerald, so it looks like this is an opportunity for UAH to really re-aggress this one. Both tanks are arriving right now. They will get there. Meteor Strike will come out from Ragu Legend, catches Hanoi, bombs
that
out.
final
No one
punch on the
falls.
point of Ragu Legend. Gets
Look at this
a
shatter.
big shatter from Conk Knight. He's going to try to push this one through. Ice Manta going down, and finally, Potaters do get this point. They have a decent time bank going right now. It doesn't look as good, possibly, as the one from UAH. But if they can rotate some ultimates, well, they may actually have a really good shot at capping this 3rd point. And really, that's all they need to actually have a really good shot at winning this map.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, no way that they're, well, it's impossible for them to beat this time bank from UAH because they already have less time. But that doesn't mean they can't finish with at least a decent time bank on the board. Ragu Legend, Emerald catches Magmaboy. That's a big kill right there. That's that's halfway to beat. That's just gone. MJ Race will fall to Itzeus though. Immortality from RKO, trying to keep everyone up. No one going to fall. Hanoi falls to Itzeus. Potaters getting the kills they need right now, and everyone's falling. No one's gonna be able to touch this cart. 3 meters away, 1 meter. It looks like Paka was able to get it, but that's all that can be said. 2 minutes on the board, a little bit over 2 minutes, I should say, but because the lower team gets dropped down to 2 minutes, both these squads will lose some time.
Yeah, it looks like Potaters cap all 3. I think that's huge for them.
That's
Honestly, like looking at how the attack went for UAH, and then looking into it, like looking how that went for Potaters, really 2 minutes doesn't feel like anything in comparison to sort of how this match has felt so far. I think this might be Potaters' best chance to try to win this map.
Yeah, if Potaters want to steal a map away, it's gonna be here. 2 minutes on the board for them. They were able to cap with, I think it was like 245 or 250 or something like that. But yeah, UAH Charger Blue, they are sitting on a cool 4 minutes 5 seconds. So if Potaters are gonna get something done, they got to get it done right here, Jump Penny.
Yeah, this would be the moment. I really do think this is their best chance. I mean, they'd be down 2-0 going into the next map if not. I think this is where Potaters have to try to do it. What I'm curious about is the comps are coming out when we see the Torbjorn, yet again, their own Torbjorn Kree, which this is just like some hard counter. Poor Ragu Legend is going to have a hard time playing into this comp, I feel like. They have a pretty standard support comp, except for instead of like a Bap Lucio or an Ana Lucio, they're running Bap Ana, which is just like a double strong healing comp. Maybe they feel like they don't have to move around too much on Numbani. They just want to sort of hold their positions and not have to leave them. But it's the double bubble coming out from Potaters with the Ragu Legend on it. Huge anti-nade hits from
No one
Hano.
falls. No one falls. Yeah. Oh, the stun. The stun's fantastic. It stops. It stops Con Knight from jumping in. Picks are gonna go both ways. The Ragu Legend down. So is Hanoi. Con Knight will be the next to fall, however. So Potaters in a little bit of an odd spot. No Winston for them. So it looks like they're gonna back up. Yeah, they're just gonna wait here for both the Ragu Legend and Con Knight. So that's actually going to give the opportunity for Hanoi to get back into this fight here.
Uh-oh, you see a Ragu Legend coming underneath right now. He wants to flank. He's getting set up. He's looking so that whenever his team's pushing in, he can try to set up really well with them. He's there. Oh, he's going in a bit early right now. He gets his way out, though. So maybe he's going to get a little setup. He gets some ult charge. He's going to go back in with his team here. And here goes Conk Knight with a Ragu Legend active.
Oh, the pin from MJ Reyes catches Con Knight, and they're gonna melt him instantly. It's news. Soon to follow, due to that anti-nade from Hano, of course. Ragu Legend will fall to Emerald. And yeah, that's a oh, Isomanta,
Oh,
the boosters
no.
puts 2 up the edge of the map. You don't really see environmental kills from a diva that often, but when you do, you love to see them.
MJ Reyes just goes off the map after taking on out with that pin. It's going to be hard for him to get back in time, but with the Ana respawn, I think he's going to be able to make it because there's no Lucio on either team. MJ Reyes actually has a pin to come back with, so it's kind of going to be a 5v5 for a second. The Potaters are trying to take here. The Regular Legend gets low, and they actually back up. They're all going to wait for the spawners now. Looks like Potaters will have to wait to the very last moment. They're going in a little early. They don't quite have their Ana yet, but they don't have any time. The mirror is out on the side of UAH, and there's the bomb. Look at MJ Reyes pinning into the whole team. He gets the McCree, and he hits a big shatter. It's over.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Did that nano go onto RKO again, or did it go into MJ Reyes this time? Jump ahead, you know?
I think it might have gone to RKO again, but I couldn't quite tell. I think MJ Reyes actually got that one. I think so. But I gotta say, I think RKO Heavy has had maybe like 1 to 6, the ratio of nanos here. If even that. It's probably been even more so.
I know MJ Reyes, received, I think, 1 nano on Oasis near the beginning, but then RKO received all the rest of them. And of course on Numbani, receiving a couple nanos here as well. MJ Reyes, I think, has only gotten 2. If that last one was on MJ Reyes, I think he's only gotten 2 nanos this entire series so far, Jumpenny.
Yeah, that you're right. I think MJ Reyes has only gotten 2, I believe. Not many, if at all. MJ Reyes, poor guy, has been just thirsty for a drop of nano boost. But that being said, he hasn't been struggling without it. He's been playing great. And it looks like UAH are playing that same comp that worked for them. And it seems like Potaters have adjusted. I kind of like this. I like to see Potaters run something different from what they usually run.
Yeah, they are going to be running this Reinhardt Orisa, so a little bit of a double shield. They are going to be running the Torbjorn as well as a Ragu Legend on the Bastion. Paka will match that here. He's on the Bastion as well. They were able to set a lightning fast time the first time around with Paka on that Bastion. We're going to see if they can do it again. 4 minutes on the clock. They got 1 tick to cap here because 2 minutes were burned off the clock for the side of Potaters. They weren't able to get anything done. So that means 4 minutes to cap 1 tick for UAH Charger Blue, and they're going to be taking map number 2 home.
And Conk Knight really on the Reinhardt is going to be lost here to really get a whole lot going, I feel like. You know, you have to play back, shield your Bastion. You can get the pull Fire Strikes going, hopefully. And we don't see that one quite connect. The Fire Strike was out. So these Bastions are just going to end up clicking into shields all day. Emerald's on the low ground, shooting at Conk Knight, who's dropped. The Bastions are, again, just shooting at each other right now.
Oh, Regular Legend's down,
I'd like to see, but yeah, Regular Legend.
We'll get res. That's a big res from Magma Boy. That's going to keep this fight alive. Paka will catch Kingisa Dab. So, yeah, Paka with another kill on the Regular Legend. Emerald catches Con Knight. Yeah, this is over now.
Wow.
Point going to tick up. That's another map 1 for UAH Charger Blue. They're going to go up 2-0 in this series with another pretty convincing map.
Yeah, UAH looks actually great there. You know, Potaters had some moments, but they end up not being able to get it. Big plays all around from a lot of UAH. We saw Antes, we saw MJ Reyes with this aggressive play of the game. Just want to remind you guys, again, we are very close to that 500 follower giveaway we talked about. If you guys have that Prime sub giveaway, it would be huge for us. Obviously, we appreciate you guys' support, just being here and watching and following so you don't miss these other matches. There is a giveaway at either 10 subs or 500 followers of either $10 Battle Net Balance, some 413 merch, or a Rogue Energy starter kit. So make sure you guys are following. Make sure you guys are, if you have that sub, that Prime sub not being used, make sure you consider giving it. We're going to be right back very short on a mission before we go into this next map. Excited to see you guys there on the other side.
Well, that one and all. We are just about ready to head into map number 3, Jump Penny. We've got Potaters, we've got UAH, Charger Blue, and thus far, it's looked relatively one-sided, wouldn't you say, Jump Penny?
Yeah, it has. UAH has played a really great game while they've gotten silly at points, and Potatoes has taken advantage, certainly. UAH has had a pretty dominant game all around. They've been able to take 2 maps. We're going into the 3rd one right now, and UAH seems to want to make this quick. They want to have fun, but not too much fun, apparently.
Yeah, Charger Blue has definitely been having their laughs today. If we're being honest, plenty of nano boosts going the way of RKO on Lucio and Baptiste, and we've seen the Bastion on attack, and yeah, so they've definitely been having some fun today, Jump Penny.
Yeah, fun for sure. And it's been a fun time all around. It's been good to watch. I mean, we've had Potatoes have their moments, and certainly I think they've had moments where they've shined pretty brightly. I think Charger Blue's been playing some really interesting things and taking some pretty direct counters sort of to the heart of Potaters with, some of these Torb picks to sort of go up directly against a Doomfist.
Yeah, the Torb is actually, it's been a not bad solution. It's been a pretty good contributor in these comps thus far.
Welcome to reality.
But yeah, that being said, map number 3, about to get underway. We are heading to Escort, which means we are going to be playing Rialto on this one. And I will say before we head into that, we do have a sub. Itzeus will be coming out in favor of Weak Dumpling. So yeah, they definitely want to be playing some snipers on this map here, Jump Penny, because we've seen Weak Dumpling play a lot of those sniper heroes.
Yes, Weak Dumpling. Someone I actually haven't seen come in too much, so good to know he's going to be coming in, probably looking to play that sniper, obviously, as you said. And, if you're seeing a sub on Rialto, I guess it would be fair to assume it's probably the Widow player coming in. And that is Weak Dumpling right now. UAH, it looks like, and I don't think they'll actually switch this comp. I know I get baited a lot, but it looks like they're running a pretty unique comp. It looks like they're going to go with like a Nanoblade, a Mercy, Sombra, Ball, Hog. So this is certainly a unique comp. We've seen Hog and Ball before. If anything, this comp seems to be really annoying to me. You have to play against Ball and Hog, which is just never fun. I think it's a frustrating comp to play against, especially when it's working for them. And the Genji Sombra.
Are they going to stay on this, though?
Oh,
because they are in... Oh, HSG's off the edge of the map. That's a little bit tough. They are sneaking around. They're at the spawn door. I think Potatoes are going to hold the spawn on this one, which they will. The Ball Hog is what UAH are going to be running. First spawn hold, going to come out. Yeah, Con Knight getting pretty low, gets antied, gets Immortality Field. Actually, Hanoi goes down to Con Knight, but both him and a Regular Legend will fall to Ice Manta and Paka. Hanoi will get rezzed up by RKO as well. Jump Buddy, I can't wait to see how many nanos RKO is going to receive on this map.
Oh, there are some shots coming in from Weak Dumpling, yeah. We're looking for the RKO nanos, that Mercy gun. We know the hitbox is a little ridiculous, right? Like, Mercy gets so much forgiveness with that blaster. So a nano could be actually really scary, especially if we don't get to see the nano blade, because that just means it's another layer of unexpected scariness, and there's the first pick.
RKO catches Weak Dumpling. Oh, that's dirty. Emerald in the backline, going to get a hack onto a Regular Legend. You're going to have to wait that one out before engaging. Well, now we'll finally engage. Paka finds HSG, so that's a great pick. HSG down once again. Only up to 35% on that beat thus far. Ice Manta is going to swing in, going to try to get this disruption down. Weak Dumpling in a little bit of trouble, but is able to escape. Kinkistab will fall to MJ Reyes, who also catches the Regular Legend. Paka down to Weak Dumpling. Great headshot. But MJ Reyes will fall. Weak Dumpling also will fall. Paka res back up. UAH Charger Blue still rolling this one pretty comfortably. As Con Knight trying to get back to spawn. Very, very low. Shield is still up, but will eventually get that healing. However, UAH still on subjective. The cart's getting closer and closer, and now Potatoes are going to finally re-engage. Bubbles out. Magma Boy's down. That's a fantastic pick. Ice Manta will as well drop those mines on the objective. And now, Hanoi on RKO. RKO will use that Valkyrie, gonna try to frag out, will catch a Ryu Legend, and Kinkistab. RKO with a couple of kills to his name there, and that's going to be UAH Charger Blue taking point number 1 on Rialto.
Yeah, poor Hano Kazuki, looking for healing from RKO Avi, who just had the blaster out, doing damage, couldn't get any healing from their fellow Mercy. Eventually RKO Avi did pull out the beam, but there goes, Ryu Legend gets slept on entry. That's pretty brutal. He gets out though, doesn't actually die to that. Very impressive, especially with the characters you have around you, Hog, Sombra. He gets out, and he goes and gets a pick on the ball.
Oh, Ryu Legend, that's a big
why
pick
he's the
right
raid
there.
boss.
Yep, raid boss of Ryu Legend. Checking in now. And yeah, gonna take the side grab. Oh my, the Shatter going to catch Hanoi, who will fall to Con Knight. The anti not quite. Trying to get the res off. RKO not going to get that res. Yeah, it gets shut down by Con Knight pretty quick there. And Paka falls off the edge of the map. Yeah, Potaters, they're gonna take this one. Take this map here. Or not this map, this fight, I should say.
Yeah, Emerald is up on this high ground right here on the stairs looking for a hack. He almost got accidentally punched by a Ragu Legend.
Imagine
you can see
that.
the shock on his face. He knows he got away with one. Weak Dumpling gets the headshot to make MJ Reyes go down on the Hog. That's huge.
Yeah, fantastic pick. That's just gonna force UAH Charger Blue to wait a little bit longer before heading in. Hanoi almost up to this Nano. The grab's out, and now Ragu Legend going to try to capitalize on this one. Catches Hanoi. Also going to use that Meteor Strike. No one